Hey everybody, welcome to the Players Take episode 10. I'm your host Justin DeSimone, and I'm joined by my co-host Montrell Rice.
Hey, what's up everybody?
The Players Take, for those of you who have not listened before, is our weekly show where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. We post on 6 a.m. on Tuesdays. Unfortunately not this week. We are a little late. If you were waiting, sorry about that.
It's my fault. I had to go out of town.
It's okay. We're here. We're trying not to miss an episode, regardless of whether it posts late or not. So let's jump in. What have you been playing, man?
So I've been playing, unfortunately, League of Legends games.
Man, you just want to murder yourself, don't you?
Yeah, last night I almost gave up. I tried playing it after I had that little debacle with some family issues, and that didn't go too well. So,
well, see, you're doing this wrong. You are doing this wrong. I'm telling you, this motherfucker plays League of Legends as a way to like de-stress himself, and I don't understand. You're doing it wrong, bro. Like, you don't play League when you're stressed out and in a bad mood. Like, you're just gonna make it worse. You play League. You play League when you're feeling yourself. You're in a good place, man. And then League's gonna bring you down. Okay, when you're stressed and you're already pissed off, League is just gonna make you want to jump underneath a fucking dumpster. Like,
well, yesterday I forgot to mute all, and I got a little stressed out just due to everyone being really toxic and everything of that nature. Wasn't there necessarily toxic towards me? It was just, my teammates were being toxic towards each other.
Yeah.
So,
which it can be very frustrating to watch.
I'm also playing Anthem. That just came out last week, I believe. We're recording this.
We'll be talking about that.
Yeah. And I found my Wii U.
You have? I didn't see. Okay. I didn't know you still had a Wii U. Yeah. And I saw this on the list, and it made me chuckle. I'm like, man. Montrell and I right now, you guys need to understand. Montrell and I this has been a rough start to the year. We've been playing some bad games, okay? Kingdom Hearts 3, Anthem, spoilers, we're not super high on Anthem. And then, it's just been a little rough. So him and I have both kind of wanted to play something real, like actually good, nostalgic. I've been thinking about Mass Effect. I was playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2. He's playing Xenoblade Chronicles X. We're just looking for a palate cleanser that like just makes us feel good, man. Like this 2019 has been rough to start.
Yeah,
and
that game's pretty solid. It still holds up. I mean, the story isn't all that, but I mean, I'm still having a lot of fun with it.
The world building's awesome, though. Yeah. Like, the lore in that game, like, they built a really cool universe.
Yeah, I really think they should revisit that world. And I hope they do.
I think they will. Yeah,
I hope they do, and I hope they actually somehow manage to put it over to the Switch.
I'm desperate for it.
Yeah.
I'm legitimately desperate for it.
I realized when I plugged up my Wii how much I hate my Wii U.
It's a piece of trash. It is a piece of trash, dude. Like, I sold that thing 2 years ago when the Switch came out. I sold my Wii U with all my games for $350 to buy a Switch.
Yeah.
And it was the best decision I ever made.
I made the conscious decision not to sell none of my games. I wanted to archive them all just in case I did want to go back and play stuff. So, like, I'm glad I did that. But, yeah.
Man, I couldn't give a shit.
I only have, I only have 3 games, which is, Captain Toad,
Xenoblade
Chronicles, and Super Smash Brothers.
Okay.
But I don't even play Super Smash Brothers.
Well, because the new one's out.
Yeah, the new one's out.
Yeah,
so
who cares?
Yeah. I'm sorry, Monster Hunter. So that's 4 games.
Okay.
Monster Hunter 3.
Yeah, Monster Hunter 3.
Yeah, so that's it. But everything else I don't do. So what about you, though?
We played a little PUBG. Montrell left this off his list.
Oh, yeah, I did look that out,
He fucking hates PUBG. He hates playing PUBG sometimes.
No, last week was
He plays
bad.
PUBG, so this is what I'm talking about with League. He plays PUBG, and he gets really angry at PUBG, and then he goes to play League. Like, he goes to play League to get himself, like, fucking unstressed. I don't understand.
You guys don't fucking understand.
I don't understand.
PUBG.
You're a masochist.
Maybe so.
You just enjoy it. I think you enjoy it. I think you enjoy the stress. Like,
because, man, PUBG... I know I'm good at first-person shooters, but PUBG makes me look like I'm trash. Like, really trash.
Yeah, I mean, it does. Hey, man, that's just the name of the game, okay? That is Battle Royale, dude. You're going to lose a lot more than you're going to win.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just the nature of it, unless you're Shroud.
Yeah.
But honestly, dude, even he doesn't win more than 50% of his games. Like, and he's a fucking monster. So, yeah, that tells you all you need to know, Okay. Anyways, Anthem as well, tons of it. Also been playing some Dead Cells, not too much, but there was a free DLC pack announced for this game. It seems pretty substantial. It sounds like the devs have been working on it since the game came out back in August, which is that's a lot of time. So I think it's going to be pretty big. I think it's going to add a lot to the game. So I'm actually kind of excited about that. I have kind of put it down in anticipation of it. I'm kind of just waiting for that to come out, whatever that is. And then I've also been playing Wargroove. This is another indie game that came out a couple of weeks ago. I was telling you about that. Excuse me. Pardon me, guys. I am sick. I'm in the recovery phase. But yeah, things like that are going to happen this episode. Anyways, so it's kind of a spiritual successor to Advance Wars, but it's kind of it's a medieval version of it, fantasy version of it. I will say, I never played Advance Wars. I don't know the specifics of that franchise.
It's been a while since I played it, so I can't give you the specifics.
Fair enough. But I'm warming up to this game the more I play it. I think when I started, it was kind of putting me off a little bit because the game has no form of progression really whatsoever. There's no leveling, there's no improving your units, there's no town building aspect to it or anything like that. This game is literally a straight up strategy game. There is nothing else to it. It's just a strategy game. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not bashing the game for that. I am just traditionally more of a person who likes strategy RPGs, like Final Fantasy Tactics, Tactics Ogre, Shining Force, Fire Emblem, things like that. And this game doesn't do any of the things those series do. This game is, there's 4 races. They are completely symmetrical with one another. Every unit in one race is the same in the other 3 races. You have your basic swordsmen. They're the same between all 4 races. There's nothing different about them, as far as I can tell so far. So it's very tight in that way. It means that, generally speaking, when you lose, it's probably your fault because there's no real randomness to it. Okay. There's very slight amounts of variation in how much damage units do sometimes, but it is extremely minute. It might be 1 or 2 percentage points one way or the other sometimes. Okay. And that is really it. So the game's really tight in that way. I think I was put off by it at first because I generally like that progression in my game, but the more I played it, the game, it's fun. Every map's kind of like a puzzle almost. Yeah. And but you do get to make your own decisions on how you approach it. You know, like what units you decide to build, what direction you move your units in and whatnot. Yeah. So I do like it from that perspective.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you like it.
I'm definitely going to beat this game. I'm planning on it. I don't think it's that long. I think it's kind of the best game I've played this year that's come out this year.
Really?
It's definitely better than Kingdom Hearts. I'm having more fun with it than Kingdom Hearts and Anthem, for sure. No question.
Did you ever play Tenchu? The ninja game?
I did not.
Okay. They just released a spiritual successor to that game, and it's on the Switch. I forgot the name of it, but I'm actually going to download it this weekend and try it out. If I'm not, well, maybe not, because I Devil May Cry come out this weekend. So, I don't know, but I'm definitely going to buy it.
Well, you'll find time for it, I'm sure. All right, moving into the news. First story this week is Montrell and I this one makes me laugh. Kingdom Hearts 3 director confirms that DLC is in the works, baby. Are you ready, Montrell? You ready for this?
I'm not buying this shit.
You ready?
I'm not buying it.
Oh, me either. Fuck that. Hold on.
Paid DLC will likely to expand the story.
Yeah. God. So let me read it. I quote here: "Paid DLC would likely expand the story, potentially filling in details on characters that perhaps weren't fully explored in the main game." Spoilers. For example, when asked about the character Shion's revival, Nomura said it could be described in future DLC.
That is such bullshit. That's what I'm talking about right there.
This is trash. This is trash. And Square is getting in a habit with this because they've been doing this. They did this with, I believe, 13-2. Final Fantasy 13-2 did this exact thing, where the game had whatever ending it had originally, and then they filled in the rest of the story with a DLC they released post-launch for that game.
I never beat that game, but that game was very fun.
Okay. Yeah. But that's my understanding of that situation. I never played that game. I don't know for sure. I do remember that being a particular sticking point with people, though, that they made people pay money for the true ending of that game. Final Fantasy 15 released in an unfinished state with story that made no sense.
God.
Huge amounts of plot holes, which they then later filled in with DLC. 2 different season passes, in fact. One that they canceled half of recently, and then the first one that they finished. And now they're going to do the same thing with Kingdom Hearts? Like, what the fuck here?
But, Justin, what did everyone say? This game's a masterpiece.
Yeah, masterpiece. A fucking 10 out of 10. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's literally admitting there are plot holes. Like, he's literally admitting there's plot holes. Like, dude, this is... The thing is, you're gonna make us pay money to understand your fucking broken story.
I was so
Fuck
past this game.
This. No, I thought we were too, and then I saw this last week, and I lost my mind, dude. I didn't bring this up to you because I really wanted authentic reaction. Like I wanted to know how you really felt about this. And this is like,
God.
this is one of the worst. This is the worst kind of DLC you can imaginably make, in my opinion. Like I think pay to win.
Going to defend it.
Like pay to win, I think is worse because it functionally destroys a game. However, I think in terms of like when you're talking about like cosmetics or just straight up like content DLC, this is below that in terms of how bad it is. Like this shit is. I mean, dude,
okay, like
you're gonna make it. You're gonna not finish your game and then charge people money to fucking finish the development of it. Fuck that.
Yeah, if you don't play video games that often, or don't understand why we're so upset, that's like reading a 10-book series, right? You read the book. You've written all 10 books. Then the author's like, you know what, guys? I was missing some plot holes.
So half of book 8. Half of book 8, a quarter of book 5 is missing.
Yeah.
There's a few pages from book 4 that I never got around to writing. I'm gonna release them all in one big, book, and it's gonna be $20.
Yeah, that's literally what just happened.
Fuck that.
Like.
Fuck this game. I'm done. Fuck this.
Yeah.
I mean, if this is the future of Kingdom Hearts, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm
out. Straight up.
It's... Oh, and they're probably going to explain Terra Nort.
They probably are. You're probably right, dude. 100%.
Or not Terra Nort, but Terra's
fucking
armor.
Terra armor.
Yeah.
Whatever, dude.
And people were like, already like, oh, the game is complete. Like, no, it's not.
There's nothing to defend here. Excuse me. There's nothing to defend here. Like, this is just a bad look, in my opinion. Straight up.
I was over this game. That's why I probably haven't heard anything, because I literally blocked
all Kingdom Hearts mentions.
All Kingdom Hearts stuff. Like, I blocked it. I don't want to hear nothing about Kingdom Hearts.
That's amazing.
Like, I am legit done with the series at this point. And I understand that you're going to play some more of it, but I gave it my time.
No, I'm not doing this. I'm saying I'm not paying for this. This should be free.
Yeah, it should be.
And I don't. Whatever. Fuck it. Let's move on. I don't want to talk about this anymore. It just pisses me off. Following up a story we had a few weeks ago, PS Plus games for March were announced. Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered and The Witness. So it's only 2 games, down from 6. It seems like Sony does not have an immediate solution to the value that has been taken away from PS Plus.
Yeah.
I don't have too many feelings on this. I don't really mark these games for download very often because usually they're not that great. But,
I don't really care either.
I will say, from a perspective of value, though, they need to put something in here, like PSVR games or another PS4 game, something to kind of reclaim that.
They're on top,
value.
man. They don't have to do anything.
Yeah, fair enough. But this is something worth noting. You got any other thoughts on this?
No, that's it for me.
Okay, fair enough. Moving on. This was interesting. I saw this today. This just kind of came out today on day of recording. Microsoft may be releasing a all-digital Xbox One S in a couple months. This is rumored to be coming out in I think May potentially. It's just a rumor at the moment. This does not seem to be substantiated at the moment, but there has been a lot of reporting on this. So I do think this is legit. I think this may happen. So it is. The timing is kind of weird though. I guess May makes sense because if what I said is true, that they're going to announce their next console at E3, they'll get this in before that.
Yeah.
And not kind of cannibalize it with the announcement of a new console. So, but I don't know. Does this put in doubt to you that they may release their new console this year?
I think they're gearing up for next year. I do. I don't see them doing if they're gonna if this rumor is true, and they do reveal this at Microsoft, or maybe they will. Maybe they will reveal it, and then they're like, hey, but the new console's not coming out until 2023 or some shit like that. Like maybe a couple years out from here. Maybe not that long, but maybe like 2 years from out. Maybe not next year. Yeah. And maybe like this is a console or this you can buy this to hold you over to get plenty of Xbox titles and stuff like that. Yeah. And they'll probably have some kind of Game Pass thing with it as well. So, or we could just not hear anything about the new console and then just announce it next year.
Yeah. Well, the article does say they're aiming at a sub $200 price point, too, which...
They did the same thing with the Xbox 360.
The arcade, right? Yeah. The arcade version that had, like, no hard drive in it or whatever. It had, like, a 256 meg hard drive.
Yep. They did that. But that was...
It's not even enough to hold the OS anymore.
Yeah, but that was like a budget one. And that one actually sold pretty well from what I hear.
It cost like $120 or something, I think, back in the day.
Because back then they understood people were just buying their Xbox for, Netflix and Hulu. Yeah. I remember a lot of people buying PS3s and Xboxes just because they was like, I just need something to stream on.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Moving on. There was a Nintendo Direct last Wednesday where it was a Pokemon-centric Nintendo Direct where they announced the Generation 8 Pokemon games coming out this fall. They're called Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield, and the internet lost its fucking mind. What a surprise.
I like the memes that came from this. How they say that
there were a lot of memes.
Everyone's gonna be talking like the British Cockney accent and stuff.
There was also a picture of some Mexican retailer or something mocked up like a fake icon for something called Pokemon Gun, which was like the green version of the game, which I thought was funny. That was pretty cute too. So honestly, there's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah, I'll be honest. So I do love the environment. I think that would be a super cool environment.
I think the setting is really cool. Yeah, like that alone is making me want to play this game.
Yeah, because I really didn't like the French setting they had with the X and Y.
I never tried it.
Oh, you never tried it? I never
played those games.
I didn't really like it that much. They really didn't capture me. I didn't even know it was a French setting until like you pointed it out, and I went back and looked at some of the landscapes, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this is in the French. Yeah. They didn't really capture the French setting in that game to me.
The fact that you didn't notice it, having played the game,
it was one part where they did have like a mock-up of the Eiffel Tower in there, but this game looks like you're going to be set in that English setting, England somewhere. Yeah. And I think, and if they do talk like in that little accent, or they have like the words that make it look like they're talking. I mean,
let's be real. There's not going to be voice acting in this game.
No, I'm just saying like but how people were typing up how they talk.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so if they do have that would be pretty cool. But I'm pretty sure they're not going to have that. They're not going to have that. The one thing I'm disappointed in is from the trailer, people are like, "Oh, you don't know if the combat changed." The trailer showed a quick, 2 or 3 seconds of the combat and like little animation stuff, and it looks pretty much the same as like Pokemon Let's Go. Yeah. Now, what I did hear is they didn't keep the Let's Go mechanic of seeing the Pokemon. It's still
the trailer showed they're not visible.
Yeah,
they showed there's random battles.
I am not a fan of that.
Me either.
I really like the Pokemon Go mechanic.
I actually think this is the one thing that no one's talking about right now, but I do think that's the one thing. If that doesn't change before the game comes out, I think people are going to be really upset about this.
Actually, contrary to popular belief, a lot of people want the random battles back. I've looked on Reddit, I looked on Twitter, I've just typed in random battles and stuff like Pokemon, and a lot of people, and I saw a poll that had like over 3,000 votes, and people want random encounters back.
I mean, I want the battle aspect of it back, like where you're actually fighting the wild Pokemon.
That's what I said.
I don't want the random part of it.
Yeah, I said that they should have the go mechanic, but how you see Pokemon in the field, but instead of just catching them, you fight them instead. And I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm well beyond the point of random battles. I'm sorry. There's just... I think that whatever that Reddit post, I think those people are a minority. Like, I think they're a vocal minority, personally. I think that casual players will have played Let's Go and going back to this are not going to be happy about it. Like, because, dude, I think people just don't remember how bad going through certain areas is. Like, anywhere that's a cave in a Pokemon game, it's awful. It's such a slog. You literally just have to use super repels the whole time. Like, there's no... And it's like people are like, oh, well, there's your solution then. You don't want random battles. I don't want to go into my inventory every fucking 2 seconds. Like, because, dude, they last like 250 steps, which is not a lot when you're actually playing the game.
Yeah.
That's like 30 seconds of gameplay. And... like, every 30 seconds I have to go into my inventory and use another fucking repel? Fuck no. Fuck that shit. This shit is annoying. Like...
Well, I mean, I'm not even too... That part is annoying, but my part I'm annoyed about is... why no change in the battle system, man? Like, why no active battle?
I think you're barking up the wrong tree with this. I mean, the thing is, Pokemon is... like, this is the way I've been thinking about it in my head for the past, like, week or so, is that we grew up, Pokemon did not grow up with us. And that's just kind of a reality that we have to accept. And I do accept it. You know, they're appealing to 3 different age groups with these games, and young kids, teenagers, and then us. And that's hard to do. So in order to do that effectively, they can't change the game that much. I think anybody asking for an action battle system or hoping for that was
you
just...
can get something in between that, you know, like an active battle system or something like that. I just think it's like, I don't want to say disingenuous, but I think it's real, like, crappy when I watch the Pokemon cartoons and they're, like, doing all this amazing shit and, like, using their brains in battle. Like, maybe a water type can beat a fire type if they do certain things in battle.
Yeah.
Like, and you see it on the cartoons, but it doesn't reflect in the game.
No, the game's really cookie cutter in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, no, you're right. I would love to see some change, too, but...
I mean, I know we're not going to get it.
It's just not my expectation. I think you're only going to get that in spin-offs.
Yeah, and I totally understand that they're appealing to 3 different age groups and, you know, all that good stuff. But, like, they don't even do anything good in spin-offs anymore. Like, we don't have a Pokemon Coliseum anymore.
No, I know.
Or Gale of Darkness.
I didn't realize that Pokemon Coliseum was like an adventure game. I didn't
never played
that. No!
Bro,
I didn't know that. I thought it was like Pokemon Stadium.
No.
I always assumed it was Pokemon Stadium.
No.
What the fuck? Dude, I want to go play it now.
It was a full-on full-on RPG game where you walk around like how you do now. In X and Y. Yeah. And it was a darker turn on Pokemon because you couldn't just catch Pokemon. There were certain Pokemon that were dark that you had to take over and bring them back. Yeah. And that's how you caught certain Pokemon. So certain trainers will have these Pokemon that were like they used for darkness. Mm-hmm. You took that Pokemon back. Yeah. And so of course, obviously, I think it was only like 50 or 60 Pokemon in the game that were available to you to catch. Yeah. And then Gale of Darkness, that was the second one. It kind of increased that cap. Okay. But it was a darker turn on Pokemon itself.
So that Gale of Darkness was like a sequel?
Yeah.
Oh, what the... I never played either one of these.
Really?
No, dude. I've always wanted to play Gale of Darkness, but I didn't know Pokemon Coliseum was like a legitimate like Pokemon adventure. Like I didn't know that.
It had its own world and everything. And
I always assumed it was just like a Pokemon Stadium for the GameCube.
No, they took that name because people knew that they associate with Pokemon Stadium, so that's why they did that. If you read one of the developer diaries,
that's like
I know it's disingenuous.
I have like proof positive that is an idiotic logic because I always just assumed it was Pokemon Stadium. I'm like, I don't want to play that kind of game. Like,
this was a full-blown adventure game.
Never knew that.
Yeah.
Never fucking knew that. That is wild.
I still have my GameCube.
That's
you can borrow it.
Well, I have a GameCube, too.
Okay, cool.
I don't have the game, yeah. Okay, well, one other thing with this, too, that kind of bothered me, and I'm just getting real tired of this, is like, can we stop? Can we stop with the starters? Can we fucking stop with the starters already?
Bro, you're definitely in the minority with that. People were going ape shit on Twitter for these, especially Score Bunny. People love this fucking Pokemon. I will
say the designs on these 3 are
really
very good.
Yeah.
They're very, very good. They did a good job with these. There have been a couple generations that have been real bad. Like Gen 5 was fucking trash. Gen 7 as well. I don't even remember them. They're so forgettable. Like Gen 6 looked good. They looked similarly good like this as well. But
I like Gen 7's Final Evolution. Those Final Evolutions were good. That's where
Yeah.
Greninja came in, because Greninja was Gen 7, I believe.
Oh, was he?
Yep, he was Gen 7.
Okay.
Because that was the first. I was Fire all the way up until Gen 7, and I saw his Final Evolution. I'm like, holy shit, that looks cool. and I knew he was a psychic water type, so I'm like, that's cool.
No, he's not. He's not a starter.
He is a starter.
No,
Dude,
he's not.
His starter is
Dude,
funky.
he's from Gen 5.
We can look this up right now.
I guarantee you he's from Gen 5 because you want to know why I say this? Because he was in the last Smash, the Wii U Smash Bros.
Yeah, X and Y came out before Wii U Smash Bros.
No, it didn't.
Yes, it did, bro.
No,
It did.
I don't think it did.
Oh my god. Okay, hold on. Let's look.
Wii U Smash Bros. Came out in 2014,
Okay, keep talking.
and X and Y
Came out in 2013.
I don't think
October 12th, 2013.
for X and Y.
Yes.
Okay, but
And
then he wasn't a starter. Then
I'm going to look at the starters right now.
was he?
Yes,
For
he was
Gen
a
6?
starter.
I thought he was a Gen 5 Pokemon.
No, man.
God damn it. Okay, well, he wasn't a Gen... You were saying he was a Gen 7 starter.
He is a Gen... X and Y is Gen 7.
No, it's not. That's Gen 6.
Is it?
Yes.
Let me see.
It goes red, blue, gold, silver, ruby, sapphire, diamond, pearl, white, black, XY, moon, sun, sword, shield.
Because Sword and Shield is Gen 8, right?
8, yeah. Anyways, though, while you're looking that up,
yeah, okay. That
continuing
makes
my
sense.
point, so
Yeah,
we're
he
mixing
is 6.
Yeah,
he is 6.
Okay.
But yeah, he is a starter though.
Continuing my point about this, though, I know people were defending this with the types, and there was one good point that somebody made that I do understand, is that the grass, fire, water thing is easy for kids to grasp, you know, in terms of the teaching them the type matchups, which I totally understand that. However, come on, man, you can do that. You can do that with other things, man. I just don't understand why it has to be so fucking, like, boring like this, you know? It's like, I'm tired of the same goddamn types.
Well,
Let's do something different.
What you just said earlier, they're trying to appeal.
Because, okay, the reason it's annoying is because the types you have available to you early in the game really impact your ability to like, progress through the game.
Yeah.
So you can design the early game differently if you have different types, you know? It's like you don't have to make everything easy for these 3 types to kill, you know? It's like you can make different types that are harder to get through the game with, or make you approach your team building differently, you know? It's like, I always, like, because when you never take your starter out of the party in any of these games, almost. Like, nobody really does. And what that creates is a situation where your party is always got one of these types in it. You know, you're not making a party without a fire type, a grass type, or a water type. One of the 3 of those. And I just feel like that's, like, over time, it's just boring. Like, it gets boring for me.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, he was a Gen 6 starter.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Because that's all you fucking cared about.
Yeah,
You weren't even paying attention to
I know,
anything I fucking said.
I was paying attention.
God damn it.
I had to
What
think
is he, water poison? Is that his ultimate form? Or is he
he's
water...
water psychic.
Water... Wait, what?
I think he's water psychic. Let me check.
No, because the fire type from that gen's fire psychic.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe he is water. Maybe he's water dark. I don't know.
He could be water dark or water poison.
I know he was a ninja. He can use psychic moves though, because I had psychic move on him.
Okay. Well, okay.
Well, yeah. And
Whatever.
I forgot all about Sun and Moon because I completely skipped that generation.
Me
so,
too.
Yeah.
I don't even remember these starters really in that one. Okay. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. I do think I'm gonna buy one of these and play them. Honestly,
Yeah, I'm gonna buy it. I just wanted a little change. But
I just
maybe-
want to see how different it is too. Like, how much do they change? You know, is this just the same old shit over and over again with another fucking generation? Like, how many more times are they gonna do this? You know, are we gonna be like in 15 years? Are we gonna be on Gen 20? You know, like how many more generations can there fucking be of Pokemon? You know, I don't know. I guess they could go on forever, but it's just, I guess the one thing that does excite me though is the fact that they're going to different locales now. They've like left Japan and they're going to like France and England.
Yeah,
and,
I like that.
And Hawaii.
Really like that, man.
I do like that aspect to this, and I do think this could lead into a situation where we get a massive Pokemon game eventually that's like Pokemon World or something like that, where you get access to like multiple regions or multiple like places. That you get to go. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like a globe-trotting Pokemon game where you're not just doing the gyms for one region.
It'll be a Pokemon MMO. You can pick your starter location. Like World of Warcraft, you pick your starting location, and each trainer has like a certain ability that it can use.
It's a looter shooter for Pokemon.
Oh my god, that'd be terrible.
It's toxic, right? I'm so toxic. I'm just
Do
bringing
not
toxicity.
give them any ideas.
All right. Well, you got any more thoughts on Pokemon?
Nah, you were right. He was Greninja was a water dark type.
Water Dark? Okay.
Yeah, water dark.
Fair enough. Okay. Moving on. We got some new games announced, release dates announced. Darkest Dungeon 2 was announced a week or two ago. I think I missed this in the last episode. It had been announced like the day we were recording. I've never played Darkest Dungeon, but I've literally always wanted to play it. It's like a really difficult. It's kind of it's hard to explain. I think it's like a dungeon crawler where you kind of send in like a party, but your guys can die, and then you have to hire new ones. But they'll like level up or whatever. But the game is really like hard.
Yeah.
So they'll go into the dungeon and they'll get like scared because it's like really difficult. Like they'll get fearful, which will make them perform worse or do less damage or take more damage.
Okay.
Things like that, and maybe even to the point where they won't even act because they're so fucking scared. Things like that. So you have to manage a lot in this game. So I've always wanted to try it. It's a game that's very popular. I never really got around to it. It's one of those things that's always something I've had in my mind to fit in somewhere, but it's just the time's never come to me. So Darkest Dungeon 2, though, I mean, maybe I jump in with this one.
I'm definitely looking into it. I'm going to look into it and see if I like it.
Yeah, if I have some time, I kind of do want to play the first one. Cause,
it's only on PC?
No, it's on all platforms.
Really?
Yeah, okay. It's on Vita, dude.
Is it like a 2D game or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It's kind of a 2D game. It's very stylized, very stylistic. It's got a very unique style to it. But yeah, I definitely want to give it a go. But yeah, I mean, dude, I think it's on Switch. Like, you can play it anywhere. So that's what I said. It's a very popular game. It's been on a lot of different platforms.
Gotcha.
All right. Moving on. We had a bit of a leak of sorts, I guess, last week where the Outer Worlds, which is
this
Obsidian's Fallout-looking clone kind of game, kind of had a bit of an oopsie moment on Steam, where the game's store page showed the release date to be August 6th of this year. For about it said it was up for about 17 hours. And then it was taken down. But then the interesting part to note with this is that the developers of the game were asked about this on a podcast later, and they did not really deny that this was the release date.
Okay.
No, and they were really like kind of weird about it. They were like, that leak had nothing to do with us. Like, that's not our thing. That it was like, okay, but they didn't say that's not the release date. So I actually think
why are they being so sketchy about it?
I have no idea, but I think this is the actual release date.
Oh shit! Maybe they were going to release it on E3. Like that was going to be their E3.
There was going to be a thing,
yeah,
like at Microsoft's conference.
Yeah,
they were going to be like, out August 6th.
Yeah, and people are going to go shit crazy, like, oh shit, it's coming out next month.
That's been ruined.
Yep.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if I'm going to play this game, but this is kind of a big deal. People are really excited about this game. So
yeah, man, it looks and plays like Fallout, the Fallout that we need.
Yeah,
it's like better graphics and shooting mechanics, man. Yes.
And one more that I would almost say that literally 1 out of 1,000 people probably aren't going to know about, but it's very exciting to me, is that Grim Dawn, which is a indie ARPG, released a trailer last week saying that the game is coming out in March, baby. Their newest expansion, what is it? Forgotten Gods? Yeah, that's the name of it. Forgotten Gods is coming out. It's the second expansion for Grim Dawn. It's an ARPG. It's fucking dope. It's better than Diablo 3. It's fucking awesome. Play that fucking game. If you're listening to this right now and you don't know what Grim Dawn is and you like ARPGs, go play Grim Dawn. This game's fucking good. It's fucking good. And this new expansion coming out is going to add another mastery of the game, so there's going to be fucking 8 total, which is insane. And then it's going to be add new areas, new dungeons, new bosses, new loot, all that shit. And I'm excited as shit for it.
He really is. I already bought the game. I haven't played it yet because we've been playing so much other stuff, but I have a feeling we're going to be playing it soon.
Yeah, probably. But, yeah, I like this game a lot. These developers are awesome. They're very cool guys. They're very communicative with their community. They're very upfront. They're very honest. They don't try to take advantage of people. They're the kind of developer that I like to support, you know?
Yeah.
All right, moving on. New games coming out this week. The only ones that I really saw were Devil May Cry 5, which I know is your kind of shit.
Yeah. Can't wait.
Yeah, I know you're going to be playing that right away, so... but he's already extremely cynical about this game. Like, he's...
Oh yeah, you should see my tweets on it. Like, I already know people are gonna fucking like not developers, but like Western YouTubers and reviewers are gonna shit on this game because it's not hard like Dark Souls. It doesn't have a dedicated dodge button like Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Oh, and with a single player. Hi guys, I don't understand why this game has a single player or microtransactions in a single player thing. In a game. Like, that's what we're going to get, and we're going to...
He was being so cynical earlier. He was saying, like, man, I can see the videos from Angry Joe and Young now. And I'm like, man, you're right. You're totally right. I can totally see it. This is going to be fun. This is going to be fun for me to watch from the outside, watching you fucking mentally break down as the world around you probably hates this game.
Oh, and then, they were probably going to compare it to, like, DMC Devil May Cry. Like, yeah, that game had a dedicated dodge button. Why not this one? I'm just going to, like, you guys, you know what? Or they're probably going to compare the combat to God of War. Like, God of War's combat was easy to pick up, but hard.
Let's not make that lazy comparison, guys. Come on.
They are. What is it, this term they say? Easy to play, hard to master?
Dude, God of War. I don't even play DMC, but I've played Bayonetta, and I've played some of these other games.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, God of War, the one from last year, has nothing on these games in terms of combat depth. I'm sorry, there's not intricate combos, there's not crazy, like, fucking intricate, like, interweaving combos that you can do, and the way like the game controls and stuff, it's just not like that. I'm sorry. Like, it's not on that same level of depth, in my opinion.
And then the game's only 15 hours long.
Devil May Cry he's talking about, not God of War.
Yeah, not God of War, but Devil May Cry is only 15 hours long.
Which is actually very substantial for an action game.
For a character action game, this is very long.
That's extremely long.
You get 3 different characters, and you're going to have probably 4 or 5 different difficulties, which is the fan base of these games love.
Yeah, these games are about replayability. That's what people want for these games.
And each level, each different difficulty adds new levels or adds new characters or enemies, rather. That's the word I'm looking for. Adds new enemies to certain areas and certain things you can't cheese through. It's really good. And they have one mode on all Devil May Cry. It's called Dante Must Die mode, where I don't know if they have this on Bayonetta, but where you get hit one time by anything, you're dead.
You're dead.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I know reviewers aren't.
It's okay. People are really cynical about this game. It just seems like they want to hate it. It's like they're just going to just deal with it, Montrell. Like, you can say it's good, okay? You can feel okay saying it's good. Champion this game if it's good. If it's shit, then call it shit. But,
what about that Epic Yarn, Kirby's Epic Yarn?
Extra Yarn. That's also coming out. It's Kirby's Epic Yarn 3DS, weirdly not on the Switch, remake of the Wii game.
That's not coming on the Switch?
No, it's 3DS only.
Wow, that's very disappointing.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. I never played this, but this game always looked cute.
Yeah, you know what Kirby game I want that they should just remake? Kirby fucking Air Ride for the fucking GameCube. Yes.
Yeah.
That game was
never played it.
Oh my god, that game was so fun.
It was like a kart racer, right? Sort of. With Kirby.
Yeah, but they had this one area where you can put 4 people on the map and random events just happen on the map. Yes, it was so cool.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like an open world area that you can just ride on your little star on, and you and 3 other people, like, because the GameCube, of course, had 4 slots. You and 3 other people can just do random shit on that map, and random events will happen on the map.
Like, what kind of events?
like sometime like a cataclysm will happen and a fucking meteor come out the sky and blow half the building up. Yes, man, the game's so fun. It's so good, man.
Well, you're not gonna get that, so
yeah, no,
sorry. Last one I want to bring up, and I'm only going to mention this cursorily because we're going to talk about this game in next week's episode, is Left Alive. It is a shitty-looking MGS clone that is set in the Front Mission universe. It is making me extremely upset. I don't really want to talk about it any more than that because we're going to talk about it next week. Because next week's topic of the show is going to be Square Enix, and this game is going to be a huge part of that discussion because I got some things to say about it.
Oh my god, that game looks like a great value Metal Gear.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, Jesus.
Fuck me. Okay, anyways, fuck it. Let's move on. We're going on to the topic of the show. Topic of the show, Anthem. And our thoughts, our kind of review of Anthem. So we've been playing Anthem since it came out. No. Let me say that again. We've been playing Anthem since the second release date, not the official first one.
Oh, yeah, that shitty shit.
It's been about a week and a half. I have pretty much finished it. Montrell is very close.
Yeah, I'm close to endgame. Well, I've finished the main story. I'm just doing endgame stuff now.
Yeah, I got to level 30. I think you got to 22, but you're done with the main story.
Yeah, I'm done with the main story.
You're just cleaning up side quests and grinding to 30 at this point, right?
Yep.
Okay. Where do you want to start with this?
Shit, I guess Fort Tarsus, man. Like,
yeah.
That's just. I guess
just
we can
get into it.
This whole gameplay loop, like how everything works, you know.
Yeah. So, man, let me just start by saying that this game is, and it's the disappointment. Like,
we want this game to be better.
I really do want this game to be way better than it is.
Yeah.
It's a damn shame that it's in the state it's in because
it's so much potential.
There's something cool here.
Yeah.
And it just feels like. I don't know. We'll get into that in a bit, I guess.
I will say,
but
before you start, like, I really didn't like how other people were reviewing the game.
Okay, yeah. I'm
like
with
that.
You. No,
Yeah.
I think this game is weird because I feel like everybody wanted it to fail.
Yes,
like, it's like
100%.
It's like they're trying, and it's almost like they're trying to help it fail.
Yeah.
Too, by being extra mean to it. You know, it's like the game's not like it's not a 1. It's not a fucking.
Definitely not a
It's
1.
not like the worst game ever made, and people are really pushing it as something that's like way worse than it is. It's not that bad. It's a competent game that's just not good enough from BioWare.
Yeah,
you know, it has some issues as well that are very annoying. There's a lot of crashes and bugs and things that just don't work sometimes, and that is really frustrating as well. The game's not very stable. Which is surprising and disappointing from BioWare.
So yeah, we ran into a bug last night. Me and Jet were playing, and what was it last night? Night before last, rather. I'm sorry. We were playing, and on one of the final missions where you have to, like, you know, pretty much hold down the area.
Yeah.
If you don't wipe, if your party doesn't wipe or something like that, it will just endlessly spawn enemies.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you guys were telling me about this.
Yeah.
This did not happen to me.
Yeah, it just recently started happening with the last patch update.
So I got through it before.
Yeah.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Just to give you guys a taste of how the bugs are in this game.
Yeah, I mean, this game launched in a just, in my opinion, an unacceptable state. I played it literally like all day Saturday and all day Sunday pretty much, and dude, I was crashing every fucking hour on PS4.
Really?
Like it's just, it was getting to a point where I was just like, I was like restarting my game like between missions just to make sure it didn't crash. It was so annoying because, dude, there were a couple times where I crashed and I lost loot. One time I crashed and I lost all the experience I'd gained in the mission. I didn't get credit for any of the experience I got.
Wow.
And I had to redo the mission. I had a crash overnight that crashed my PS4 and just turned it off, which is a new thing that's actually started happening the past couple of days, where people are reporting, quote, that it's bricking their PS4s, which isn't true. It's just turning them off. But it's just this level of crashes is not acceptable to me in a game made by this kind of studio of this caliber with the level of hype they were trying to generate behind it. It's just, you can't release your game in this state and expect people to be okay with it, you know?
Yeah, I 100% agree. It's the damn Frostbite engine, man. Like, It's just that Frostbite engine. I think it's really time for. At least they should just let BioWare let that engine go. You can use it for shooters like Dice and everybody.
Dice does a great job with it. Let them continue to do that.
I mean, not with their last release.
Okay,
but
fine.
Yeah,
but at least they know how to use it. You know, somewhat. It's like BioWare. It seems like BioWare. Their last 3 games, they've just been fighting with this engine. Fixing this engine, building this engine for EA, and it's like killing the studio because Inquisition is a game, from all intents and purposes, from what I understand, that had an extremely tortured development because of Frostbite.
Yes.
Having to make an RPG in Frostbite was extremely hard. There were a lot of tools in there that literally didn't exist that they had to make to put in the engine so they could fucking make their game. That's ridiculous. You shouldn't put your studio in that position.
I don't know who agreed to that. It had to be like a contractual thing because...
Well, I mean, EA owns them. They can tell them whatever the fuck they want to do. Like,
yeah, that's true.
If they say use Frostbite, they have to use Frostbite. There's really like no negotiation.
Well, Respawn's using Source. So yeah. I wonder. Like I said, it has to be like a contractual thing.
I mean, they may not have. I don't know. It could be. It depends on the relationship, right? Each studio has, or each studio head has with EA. I don't know. It depends. I mean, Respawn may have made a very compelling argument why Frostbite wouldn't work for them, and maybe BioWare is just a little bit more of a puppy dog and doesn't fight back, and it's just like,
I think that's
okay,
what it is.
They said use Frostbite, we're going to use Frostbite. Whatever the reason is, they're using Frostbite, and they hate it. From everything I've heard, is like they hate working with this fucking engine, but they continue to do it. It's 3 games now that I think it's legitimately hurt 3 games. Because they're using a proprietary engine. Just let them use Unreal, please. For all of our sakes.
We keep going back to Unreal because the Dragon Age series and Mass Effect series before Andromeda was made on the Unreal 3 engine. And Unreal 4 is so much better than Unreal 3. It's ridiculous. Even Kingdom Hearts 3 was actually taken out of the Luminous engine, I believe, or the Crystal.
It was the Luminous engine.
Luminous engine and made in Unreal 4. So, just to give you an idea of what that engine can do, it can do a lot of stuff. To me, this game would have been really good on Unreal 4 engine.
Well, think about that too. If they were working on an engine that was stable, that they weren't having to waste so much time building to just be able to make the game.
Yeah.
Like, how much more could this game have had? Because that's the biggest thing with Anthem is that the game just doesn't have a lot in it.
It has potential, though.
It's got a lot of potential. The game is fun to play.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess let's start with the positive, right? Positive things.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
The movement in the game and controlling your javelin and like just being out in the open and running around and stuff is fucking amazing.
Yeah, you really feel like Iron Man sometimes. Like,
dude, seriously, like they have nailed. I feel like they've nailed the flight element, the control of flight, and on movement on the ground is really snappy and weighty. It feels like your character feels like they have a lot of weight, and
each javelin, just movement wise, we even got the combat, but movement wise, each javelin feels significantly different than the other.
Yes. They're very unique and distinct, which, as we said when we played the beta, that was not something that I was expecting with this game. But they did a very good job with that. They all have different roles. They kind of all have very specific purposes within a party.
Yep.
And they're all useful in their own ways. None of them are really bad, from what I can tell. So they did a good job with that. And, like, dude, playing the Interceptor is just, like... There is something really just fun about playing the Interceptor.
Yeah, I have been playing the Interceptor lately.
Jumping around and like jumping in and out of combat, going into melee, going out of melee, dodging behind rocks, and then fucking firing your gun, then jumping back into melee, throwing a fucking ninja star. It's like really fast and fluid.
Yeah, it's very
and feels
rewarding.
really good. I will say I do want to mention one negative though with the Interceptor specifically, that the melee is very janky.
Yes.
With the way your character targets enemies is really rough. You will just lose targeting all of a sudden and just start going the opposite direction from the way you want to attack.
What's funny about that is some of the melee characters in Mass Effect 3's multiplayer, you use a sword. Mm-hmm. Like the N7 Slayer, he uses a sword. He'll teleport just like the Interceptor and everything. And he has a combo. Sometimes it can go a little janky. He'll untarget people and stuff like that. So, yeah.
But yeah, that's one of the frustrating things. I also think one other thing about the Interceptor with the melee and specifically is that I think it's kind of boring because you're literally just hitting a button and you're meleeing endlessly.
Yeah.
And you're doing a shitload of damage, and it's like like when you're fighting something that has a lot of health and you're just sitting there spamming triangle for fucking like 10 minutes on end, it's like,
it does.
Like could they have not put a combo system in here maybe, or something to kind of differentiate the way you do damage?
Yeah, they should have done a little bit more.
Yeah, but I will say, after having gotten higher level, is that your melee is still very good at higher levels, but it's not the only way to be effective as an interceptor. So I will say that the monotony of that kind of gameplay does kind of alleviate. If you don't feel like meleeing the whole time, you don't have to, and you actually really shouldn't, because you'll probably die in the middle of a bunch of enemies, and then you're hard to revive. So you need to be really smart with the way you jump in and out of combat, which I really like that element to that javelin.
Yeah. I just like the Colossus. I mean, I use the Colossus a lot, and I like the Storm. Even actually, I like all of them. I like how different they all are.
Yeah.
Like we thought the Ranger was going to be the most boring javelin, but it's actually a really good support javelin.
Yeah.
But the Colossus is just a fucking tank. I can take everything, and I feel like I can take everything.
Yeah. No, and I feel like you can too. Like playing with you, like you were often the one who was reviving us.
Yeah,
because you're the only one alive. Because you're the only one who could take the damage we were getting hit with. But it's cool though. That's what I'm talking about with the distinctness of the javelins.
And
right?
that's why I feel like the reviewers and even the previewers were unfair to this game. Because they're comparing it to Destiny, and Destiny is nothing like this game.
From that perspective, it's nothing like this game. Yeah.
Like Destiny, you do have, the Titan, the Warlock, and the Hunter, but their abilities are on cooldown. That game revolves around gunplay, where this game revolves around your abilities.
Yeah.
Your abilities come back up a lot quicker. It's designed for you to combo with your teammates or even yourself.
I will say that becomes less true the higher power level you get.
Yeah.
The game becomes a lot more about gunplay later on. Because
really? Because your guns, the special.
Yeah, your guns do a lot more damage than your specials start doing.
Okay.
And that's kind of, to me, that's unfortunate, because I think this game shines in the fact that the abilities are what make you effective, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what differentiates you. I mean, we're all carrying guns. We can all carry the same guns, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's the boring element to the game. I don't want to fire my gun that much. Like, that's not really why I'm playing this game, So the fact that guns become kind of the best way to play the game later on is kind of a disappointing aspect to it.
I hope they don't go in that direction. I hope they
change it up. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Anthem community is kind of speaking up about that too, where they don't want this game to be like Destiny as far as gunplay. Mm-hmm. We do want unique guns, but we want more unique abilities as well for each javelin class. And I think that's in the direction they should go, because it really does. Like I'm saying, when I play this game, I feel like I'm playing Diablo 2 or 3. Like I play a little bit of 3, but Diablo 2 I played a lot. And I feel like I'm playing those games. Like I feel like I'm playing an ARPG instead of a looter shooter sometimes. Yeah. The way you can kind of manipulate parties or the mobs and things of that nature. Each javelin class has its role, like you said. Well,
earlier. the way the game labels enemies too is interesting. Is that it definitely feels more like an ARPG, because you'll have like a Scar, and then you'll have like an Elite Scar, and then you'll have like a Legendary Scar, and that's kind of how ARPGs are. Like Grim Dawn, for instance. You will have your regular enemies, like you'll just have a zombie, and then you'll have like an elite zombie. Yeah. Then you'll have like a champion zombie, which is like a mini boss enemy, which is exactly what the legendaries are. They're kind of like mini bosses, like that's how powerful they are.
Yeah.
So it does feel like an ARPG in that way. It's just that, unfortunately, the things that an ARPG is supposed to do, this game just doesn't do. There's so much shit missing from what this game. If you're going to go down that ARPG path, there's so much shit missing from this game to make it feel like that. You know?
I just really like how different the game feels from like Division and.
I agree. They made this very distinct.
Yeah, and I feel like they should I just really hope they double down on that.
Yeah.
But I guess that's. Oh man. The voice acting's pretty good. I didn't mind the voice acting. I thought that facial animations, because everybody was worried about that too for Mass Effect Andromeda. I thought the facial animations were really good. The animations in general are really good. It's just some stuff that may be a hit or miss, but I really like the core gameplay loop as a whole. Like I feel like the game The reason I'm not being so hard on it is because I just see so much potential in it, and I feel like
I think this is where you and I diverge.
Yeah.
Is that I'm not gonna be that hard in the game either. This isn't gonna be like a Kingdom Hearts situation where I'm screaming about the game. But I think from what you see in potential, I see as something that should already be there.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree. 100% agree with that too.
This game, they have this content map. They're planning on releasing a whole shitload of content in the next 3 months, and I think it's going to be pretty substantial stuff that's really going to flesh this game out. And it sounds to me like they're basically going to spend the next 3 months finishing the fucking game, or what should have been the game at release. And that is not an acceptable situation to put your players in. Yeah. Because I paid $60 for this game. You paid $60 for this game, and we're done with it. I'm not planning on playing it. I'm not coming back, while all this content's coming out. I'll probably wait till the summer to come back to this game. And that's bullshit to me. Like, I'm funding the development of all that shit. And that is an unacceptable situation to me. Like, I just don't. I'm getting tired of these games doing this. They're all doing it too. This is like a carbon copy of the MMO genre from fucking 10 years ago, where MMOs were all trying to copy World of Warcraft, and none of them did a good job, and they all released fucking broken, half baked. A lot of them were missing content, missing entire zones, missing instances, dungeons, missing all sorts of shit, and then they would release it over the next year or two and make the game complete. And it's like, by that point, everybody doesn't care. Nobody cares anymore, and they all left. And I feel like the same thing's happening with these fucking looter shooters. And I don't know. It's frustrating to me. It's really frustrating.
So yeah, that's the part where we come into like the bad. I mean, this game was being developed for about 6 years, and there's just, like you said, a ton of stuff missing. Like I said, even though I'm not as hard on it because I see the potential, I am still going to criticize it because that shouldn't need to be there at the beginning.
Well, let's go over it, I guess. So we're going to spoil Anthem. I mean, who gives a shit? There's nothing really to spoil. Like, there's the story's not riveting. The game, there's not much to spoil. So basically, there's two. I guess the best way to word this, there's two versions of the game that you're playing. You're playing the Fort Tarsus section of the game, and then you're playing the actual open world in the game world section of the game where you're doing missions. So the Fort Tarsus part, I think we both agree on this, is that this Fort Tarsus shit is frustrating.
It's fucking terrible.
It's not well designed. It's poorly delivered. It's annoying, and I feel like completely unnecessary. I think they could take Fort Tarsus out of this game, and it would probably actually improve the game. Like, I think the game would be better if they took Fort Tarsus out and just put a bunch of menus in.
The movement speed is fucking game breaking. Yeah. Like, it's the most boring hub I've ever been in a game before.
There's nothing happening in it.
Nothing.
There's just a bunch of NPCs standing around waiting for you to come talk to them, and then they just tell you inane bullshit that's happening in their life that has nothing to do with the main story. It's literally people like, hey, there's this cute girl, and she wanted me to watch for some package that was going to get delivered for her today. What should I do?
Freelancer.
And it's like, I don't care. Why are you talking to me about this? Like,
it's not like you get like a super cool item after you do this quest line. Like, there's nothing there.
No, you'll make a choice, and then something will happen off screen. Like, while you're in a mission, you'll come back, and then that person will tell you what happened based on the choice you made.
It's Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, but then it's like, and then they'll ask you a follow-up choice sometimes, or maybe that'll be the end.
And you can choose, but it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make a difference.
Nothing appreciably happens.
Yeah,
because
you can
of
make a
choices.
choice. Like, you have dialogue choices, but they don't make differences at all. In my
these characters are irrelevant.
Yeah, it just seems like the game had something there before. They didn't know what they wanted to do with Fort Tarsus. Even like the launch bay area where you can meet other players and stuff like that, or just like, I guess, the real lobby. Like,
what is the point of that?
No one hardly goes there.
I went in there one time because the game forced me to go there.
Yeah,
and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And I left.
I forced myself to go in there because I'm like, I just want to see other players.
Yeah,
like I just don't feel like
I don't understand. Like, why is there a separate player hub where you see all the actual players, but you can't talk to any NPCs. What is the point of that? Why isn't Fort Tarsus like an instance shared thing where you see a bunch of other players running around?
It should be like that.
Like, it makes me think that they can't render the players. Because think about your character. You're in first person. Like, this is a third person game. Why are you running around in first person?
Well, you can't see your shadow. So, I mean, if you look down at the ground, your physical shadow is there.
I mean, that doesn't mean anything, though.
But that means your character's rendered.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
They could literally put the shadow there.
No, your character has movement. You can see your character movement. I mean, in correlation with the shadow.
They could fake that. They could absolutely fake that.
That's debatable.
I don't think it is.
That's debatable.
They could totally fake that, dude. Like, they could literally just render a fucking blob, a black blob, and tie it to your character.
Well, no, it has a physical shadow. It shows you when you move and stuff like that. Like, it shows, like, actual arms and limbs and stuff like that.
But they could probably recreate that. I mean, you're probably right. There probably is an actual character model rendered there. But then why are you in first person then?
I don't know. That's the only part I don't get.
Like, I don't understand that. That doesn't make any sense.
I don't like the first person aspect. Like,
no, it's stupid.
I'm over first person shit. But, like...
Well, no, but, I mean, it just doesn't make sense because the game is third person. The actual game you play is in third person.
Well, I mean, it's the same. I think they really did. I think that was a design choice because, like I pointed out when we were playing, like, oh, guys, you know... In the hub of Destiny, you're third person, but when you're out in the adventure field, you're first person.
I guess you're right. That's true.
Yeah.
I guess that's true. I guess that is true.
In the game,
I didn't even think about that. Yeah. That is fair.
In the world, you're in third person, and then in the hub, you're first person.
I will say in Destiny, though, like, you get to see yourself in third person, so you get to see the gear you're wearing and stuff. Like, going from third person to first person doesn't do anything for you, you know? Like, it doesn't...
I don't make the rules.
It doesn't, like, because you can't see your character anymore. So it's like whatever cosmetics you wear, like, you don't get to see them. I mean, the game doesn't have like a character creator or anything like that.
No, it doesn't.
Maybe this is their way of circumventing having to deal with that. I don't know. I don't fucking know.
I mean, like, just again, even to touch on the cosmetics. Oh, well, let's keep going.
Well,
Tarsus
yeah, hold on.
quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Fort Tarsus is just. I hate being there because you have to talk to these characters, right? And if your game's glitched like mine, sometimes the conversation blips don't pop up on your radar, so you have to constantly open up your menu and then go back to the regular game screen and try to find them, and then open up your menu again to make sure you're talking to the right person. Like, because my radar's glitched where it doesn't show the conversation blips at all.
Yeah,
and
that happens to me too.
Yeah,
well, sometimes they stay there and there's no conversation there.
Yeah,
you know, like
even when you're doing the story missions and the story's getting like really good, or not really good, but the story's getting like, you know, you're into it and you're like, okay, I like where they're going with this. Fort Tarsus comes out, you're just like, I don't feel like talking to anybody.
Well, dude, it's a showstopper. Like, Fort Tarsus is such a downer. Like, when I'm done with a mission and I'm ready to go to the next mission, no. You come back and you have to go walk to the NPC that's associated with the mission you just did and talk to them, and then they'll give you the next mission. And I mean, some of them are like, some of them you have to walk like fucking like for a minute to get to them, and it's just like, it's like, fuck, dude. Like, I just want to go into the next mission. I don't want to listen to all this exposition. Like, why can't this exposition happen out in the field? You know?
They really need to do something about Fort Tarsus. I don't know, in like a next content update or whatever, but Fort Tarsus has to change.
Well, dude, the other part about Fort Tarsus that's dumb is that we were playing together. Like, you and I were playing with a third person, and dude, we're sitting there shooting the shit, talking, and what ends up happening is we're just talking over each other's dialogue as we're all talking to the NPCs, and I have no idea what they're fucking saying.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sitting there like trying to read what they say, but you guys are talking to me, so I'm trying to concentrate on you at the same time, and it's just awkward. It's like they designed Fort Tarsus to be some kind of single player portion of the game, and yet they didn't realize that you're going to be playing with friends. Even though they designed this game, they literally
play with friends.
They want you to play in a squad. They like force you almost to play in a squad. You can play by yourself, but the game literally says to you, if you try to play alone, like, we recommend you play with other people. Like, the game's not designed for you to play solo. So it's like, you have this element of it at Fort Tarsis, but then when you're actually playing missions, the game wants you to play with squads. So if you're playing with friends on PSN with party chat on, it's just like you're just talking over dialogue and stuff. So the story's not even well told, or you can't hear it well because you're playing with other people. It's like they didn't think that through very well. Clearly, because dude, the thing I want to point out with this. The reason it's poorly designed is that not only are people talking over you, the reason why is that it's happening at different times for each one of us. So we all have our own agency within Fort Tarsis. So you might go talk to the mission person for the mission we just did. I might talk to the first person that has a speech bubble because I want to go in a specific way because I want to hit everybody in the most efficient route possible. Or our other partner might go to the last person and start at the fucking very back, and then so guess what? We're having 3 different conversations. So we're not stopping talking to listen to dialogue because we're all listening to different dialogue and it's being delivered to us at different times. You know when we do stop talking is when those in-game cutscenes happen in the middle of missions. None of us said shit during those. Like, we were all quiet because we're all watching the same fucking cutscene and we're all trying to watch it. So it's being delivered to us at the same timing, exact same timing. That's how you have to deliver story in a multiplayer game. Like, you can't deliver it separately for each person unless it's text. If it's spoken dialogue, you can't deliver it the way this game delivers it because it just gets muddled.
They should have went with the text route for this game.
I agree 100%. Yeah.
I mean, some people probably would complain like, why is there no voice acting? But this is the reason why. I mean, because like you said, the only reason I listened to one of the stories, which was the spy mission story line, is because you guys weren't there, and I'm like, okay, so I can kind of focus on what they're saying now.
Yes. Yeah.
And that story actually turned out to be good, but it's like, I don't care. At the end of the storyline, I didn't get any reward for it.
There's no mission at the end of it. Like, you don't ever get to go to a mission with that character you're talking to. Like it's just,
you rarely get a contract out of talking to someone. And like, that's why I feel like talking to people is like pointless in the game because you don't get any kind of power up.
You do get reputation depending on what choice you make.
What the fuck is a reputation? Oh yeah, your fountain's clean now. What? I don't care about that.
Well, it gives you recipes, remember?
Okay.
But it's such a shitty delivery of like a way for you to progress. Like, it's just, I don't.
Yeah, and that's another thing. The faction progression is it's crazy. I mean, dude, once you hit max on any of the 3 of them, like, what's the point? Like, I don't see the point of it.
It's just a progression system. It's literally just a progression system.
But why?
I don't know. They couldn't think of anything better. It's like, I don't know.
You're going to be hearing "but why" a lot because if we go past Fort Tarsis and let's get to the actual character, like building, like
this is the most disappointing part of the game to me. Whatever I said about Fort Tarsis, it's so bad and forgettable that I don't even care. It's just like it's just kind of an annoyance.
Yeah.
The character progression is the core of the game, right?
Yes.
This is the part of the game that should be fun, and it is not fun in any way.
It suffers from the Division 1 persona.
Dude.
Well, they all do this. I don't understand the point. They all do this.
This is a point that I was making to you, like, I don't understand why these games have levels. Like this has gotten progressively worse as more of these have gotten launched. Like Destiny 1, leveling sort of mattered. Like you had actual choices you had to make.
Yeah.
And then Division 1 came out and leveling was a boring fucking mess in that game. And then Destiny 2 came out and leveling is a even more boring mess in that game. You literally pick what spec you want and that's it. Like there's nothing. You don't get any like skill trees or anything like that. And then this game comes and dude, you want to talk about leveling that has nothing fun, like nothing like exciting upon leveling up? I mean, I'm pointing at Anthem because what is the point of leveling in this game? I don't even know why it's here.
They should have made this game strictly item level if they were going to do that.
I agree. Because, dude, you spend all this time gaining experience and leveling up, and you'll level up, and half the levels you literally get nothing for leveling up. Like, the game doesn't even say that you leveled up.
All you get is, more components or
Well,
more
no,
component slots?
those are the half of the levels that do give you something. That's what I'm talking about. Half of them don't even have that.
Yeah.
You get something for it. Like, the other half of the levels are literally unlocking component slots and then game mechanics, like other javelins, and then game systems like the fucking consumables and stuff.
Yeah.
Guys, like, putting leveling in your game doesn't make your game an RPG all of a sudden. Like, that's...
They should know that. They make RPGs.
They make RPGs. I understand. I know. And I'm getting real tired of this, though. These games, I feel like they literally have... like leveling in them just to say they're an RPG.
Yeah,
it's so overt and poorly done.
And they put damage numbers over everything.
Yeah, and they put damage numbers over everything to make it look like there's like stats in the background that are doing things. And it's like, I mean, obviously there are stats in the background doing things. But it's like you can't even see what those are in this fucking game because there's no character sheet.
There's no character sheet in the game. Why?
And dude, when you level, like the game doesn't even tell you like what happens when you level. Do you get more health? Do you get more shields? Does your damage go up? The game doesn't tell you that.
All that's tied to your
power level,
your
but the game doesn't tell you that.
The game doesn't even tell you how to do the priming system.
Dude, it doesn't tell you how primers and detonators work. It doesn't tell you anything. It tells you nothing. It barely even tells you how to fly. Your fucking javelin, dude.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because we had to discover like if you fly closer to the water, your javelin cools less.
Here I am yelling all of a sudden. Like this part of the game definitely pisses me off because I'm tired of these games doing this, and I'm afraid that the Division 2 is going to be the same thing, just maybe a little bit better than this, where there's actually some skill trees and stuff. But I'm not sure how robust it's really going to be. Dude, you can make a looter shooter. It's fine. You don't have to make us level because the leveling in this game is a waste of your fucking time. It's such a waste of your time. You're at a point now, at level 22, where you're almost done with all the side quests. Dude, you're going to be grinding endgame content to get to 30, but you're not going to get anything valuable out of it because you're not getting level 30 equipment, which is the only thing that fucking matters in this game, is the max level 30 equipment. Anything else is fucking useless. It's worthless. It's trash. It's all garbage. So what's the point of doing anything before level 30? Like, there is no reason. It's literally there to waste your time. And it's like, I don't know why people like just accept this and eat this up. Like, this is fun. Like, this isn't fun to me.
Some people think it's fun.
Dude, this is the Diablo 3 effect. Diablo 3 has done this because Diablo 3 was the first game to do this bullshit where your leveling is fucking like valueless. You level to 60 in Diablo 3, and what do you get when you level up? Okay, your stats go up and you get an ability. I mean, whoop-de-fucking do. Like, the ability's the same for everybody. Like, what does it matter? It's like, you're not getting anything appreciable. There's no, like, skill trees. There's no stat points. There's no, like, there's nothing. You're not customizing your character in any way. They don't even make a big deal about leveling in this game. You level up and the game's just like, it doesn't even tell you leveled up. It's literally just a bar on the fucking... It's a lot
of stuff missing. Like, even when you get XP and stuff like that, you get like different alliance XP and and like it's just
it's
just some stuff I don't understand. I'm just like, all right, whatever.
Well, the game doesn't tell you.
Yeah, and like they expect you to go into Codex and read everything.
Yeah, like how does the alliance system work? Like how does it determine how much coin I get based on what tier I'm at? You know, it's like.
I mean, some people are probably like, well, if you go into the Codex, it explains it. Like, I shouldn't have to?
Considering how basic this game is, it should take the time to explain the few mechanics it has to me.
And then there's a lot of lore there in the game, which I appreciate, but I just don't care.
Well, okay. Yeah.
I care, but I don't care. The main story is interesting.
Well, I want to point out one more thing before we move on to the lore and stuff in the story. This game had skill trees at a certain point in it, like pilot skill trees, and it seems like they took it out before release. And if you look at the post-launch progression plan or post-launch DLC plan, in there is something called Pilot Mastery. I think it's like a progression system. I think it's the skill trees. Like I think they're adding it in like a month.
Why?
Yeah. And it sounds like something wasn't working about it, and they took it out, and then they're going to release it. And it's like, Like, dude, if you're gonna add that kind of character progression to your game a month after it came out, you should have delayed your game.
It probably couldn't delay anymore.
Well, EA probably mandated this date for the game to come out.
Yeah,
you know, and because we have a Reddit thread, and that's one of the things in there is that it's missing those skill trees that were shown before. They were shown like 8 months ago at E3. You know. They were talked about rather. I think at E3 they had like a gameplay video they showed of like playing a mission. So I don't know, man. It's pretty obvious that this game is missing a lot of shit. So, anyways, let's move on to the story, I guess. So, what are your thoughts on that?
So it doesn't leave me wondering anything like Destiny did.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like it's very straightforward.
It is.
I'm assuming like these humans here didn't come from Earth. They're just on this planet.
Well, that's the one thing that's really frustrating about this game is that it talks about Bastion and the people's existence on Bastion like this is the only place that humans have ever known. And
I like that. I like that aspect that it's not like Earth, like they didn't come from a distant Earth or something like that. I like that it's its own lore set in its own world, and I like how it kind of incorporated the technology they have into like it's almost like a space medieval type thing going on. Yeah. So I do like that aspect. I like how they talk about what's her name, General Tarsus.
Yes. Yeah.
I like how they talk about that and other generals that have in the past, and I think it's really cool. Right? That's why the lore is like so interesting.
Well, dude, this is one thing I wanted to say too is that the game is like it's very obvious that the writing team had nothing to do at specific points in time because the amount of lore, notes, and like codex entries that are in this game is fucking insane. Yeah. They're everywhere, and they are not. It's not like 2 sentences. It's like a paragraph, 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs. Like it's a ton of information. If you want to know about Anthem's world, dude, this game's got it all in here for you. Like,
and I think that's what BioWare kind of does really good. Like, I mean, there are other games that have had a ton of backstory and everything like that.
And it's really robust, I think, for this game. I think there's a lot of lore in this game. And that is cool. The world sounds really interesting. It's just, the thing is, the game spends a ton of time telling you how cool the rest of the world is, and you never get to go to any of it.
Yeah, and there's obviously other cities to go to. And
Anthem being the main one that I want to talk, that like, they talk about is, like, dude, they talk about, like, Anthem's like, oh, Anthem's this fucking awesome place. I hate fucking Fort Tarsus. This place is a backwater shithole. And it's like, why the fuck are we here then? Why aren't we in Anthem if Anthem's so cool? Like, I don't want to, like,
I mean, you do fight, like, there's certain parts where I don't feel like I'm fighting in a war or something like that. I mean, even though you do fight other javelins and Dominion, things like that nature, I just want to feel like I'm fighting other capable people that can fuck me up. Like at no point in the game I felt Fort Tarsus was under attack.
Me either.
No point.
Of course not. No.
There was no sense of urgency. They kept telling us the cataclysm was coming, but
you don't see the effects of it in any way.
Exactly. Like not in the game world or anything like that.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's still better than Destiny 1.
For sure, dude. Yeah. No, Destiny 1 had like 5 story missions. Like, that game had nothing, dude.
And I'll say to an extent, it's on the same level as Destiny 2, story-wise. Destiny 2 had a bit of a story there.
I think that's fair. Yeah, Destiny 2's story was actually fairly robust, I guess.
Yeah, it wasn't like the best, but it was.
No, it wasn't.
Story.
I mean, it was there.
Yeah,
just like this game's is there. It's not good either, but you know.
Yeah. I guess lore-wise, I have nothing to say about the story. The actual main plot, I don't care.
Yeah, the main plot was really boring.
I mean, it was kind of predictable. We already figured that.
You called exactly what was going to happen.
Yeah,
like,
I already knew it was going to happen.
Like halfway through it, like he called like the end of the game, pretty much. Like halfway through it, it was hilarious.
Yeah, your main villain.
I mean, he's barely present. He's there for like 2 cutscenes, before the final mission of the game. And in the final mission of the game, he's taunting you like he's been around this whole time, and he's like really like knows you really well. Like, dude, bro,
he doesn't. And
you've talked to me like twice. You don't know shit about me. Like,
so I mean, this is probably an unfair comparison, but fuck it, I'm going there anyway. So you got two people that come to mind instantly every time this guy talks to me. The Reapers, the main Reaper guy.
Yeah.
And Saren, right?
Well, the other one I was thinking of was Thanos.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about Thanos. I'm just talking about from what they wrote.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
from BioWare games?
Yeah, BioWare games.
Yeah.
And even, what's his name? Sidious.
Yeah.
Sidious.
Yeah.
So, these villains have a way of, like, fucking with the player.
Yeah.
In old BioWare games. And they always had some kind of twist to them or whatever, but they challenge the player or the main character in ways that, you know, only BioWare can do. Like, for instance, the Reaper, he kept telling Shepard, like, you're not going to make it. This is not going to work out for you. Here's why it's not going to work out for you. And Shepard would have to, like, fuck you, Reaper guy. This is going to work, blah, blah, blah. With Saren was like, you don't understand why the fuck I'm doing this. Mm-hmm. The Reapers are coming. I need to do this right now. Your main character doesn't know about the Reapers yet, and you're like, fuck you, Saren. You gotta do this. But, I mean, obviously, I'm really downplaying the dialogue. But the way they talk to you, the way they talk to you, they're constantly there, and they're constantly, like, picking at you.
It's extremely psychological.
Yeah.
This is what,
the Monitor himself, he comes in, like, 2-3 scenes?
It's literally 2 scenes.
2 scenes.
Yeah.
This guy is supposed to be like a badass.
Dude, he shows up at the beginning of the game. This is the funniest thing. He shows up at the beginning of the fucking game, and he like, it's like the first story mission or second story mission, and he's just like some guy who shows up and like like takes something, and I'm just like, oh, this is gonna be like the first mini boss of the game or something. Yeah, no, it turns out he's the final villain of the game.
Yeah,
no,
I thought this dude was like the apprentice of
I thought he was like a lieutenant or something. Yeah. You know, like I'm sitting there thinking like this guy's like, oh, okay, he's kind of cool. He's like a little threatening. You know, I wonder who's above him, and it's like there's nobody above him. Like he's the guy.
He really comes across as like a lieutenant. That's a perfect example. This guy, he doesn't have any like authoritarian bone in his body. Like he doesn't. When I saw Saren, I was legitimately like, "Yo, this guy means
he'll fuck you up."
Yeah,
like, he's got command.
Yeah,
right?
the backstory they gave for him, like he's a fucking Spectre and shit.
Dude, no, that's the. Oh my god. Okay, no, we're getting into it now because like I'm thinking about Saren, right? You're thinking about Saren. Saren is the villain introduced to you in Mass Effect 1, and like you're instantly like, they tell you he's a Spectre. They're setting him up. They're building him up to be this really impressive individual.
Like he gets shit done for the console.
Yes, he does. And then you find out he's doing something sinister, and it's like, oh shit, well, damn, this guy's like really powerful. Like, that's terrifying. And he's like the villain of the game, right? And then you find out that no, he's just a fucking lackey.
Yeah.
And it's like, this guy is a lackey? Like, this dude's got like this whole master plan, and he's like fucking like this terrifying. Dude,
and he's legitimately scared. So let's I'm trying to put it into terms of like a common enemy or whatever. Let's say like Bane from Batman Dark Knight or the Joker or somebody. You're like, oh man, this guy's like fucking. He's the guy, man.
Yeah,
like,
he's extremely dangerous. Yeah,
like, and you find out that he's afraid of somebody.
Yes,
and
like, he's working for someone else.
Yeah,
it's like, So,
and then even in Mass Effect 2, when you're working for the Elusive Man, and you find out that you have to beat the Elusive Man at the end, like, you're the person that you were working for the whole time is the person that's going to be the villain at the end of the game.
Yep.
Even in the previous games, when you ran into the service people who are like, I would guess say the alt-right version of the humans. Instead of like, that they're all prehumans. But
you know what's funny though is that you're right, and then you end up working with them though the whole second game. Like that's fucking dude. That wouldn't fly today. Yeah. That wouldn't fly anymore. Holy shit! So, I didn't even think about that.
And the Elusive Man, the way he talks, he's like very confident in what he's doing. He's strategic. He knows you in and out. He knows your party in and out.
Comes off extremely intelligent.
Yeah, extremely intelligent. This guy,
mean, we're not given enough time to have any layers with this guy. Exactly. We don't even know where he comes from. We don't know anything about him.
To be honest, the person, I mean, fuck it, I'm just gonna spoil it for you. Owen is a better villain than this guy. Like, he has a little bit more...
Because Owen's with us for half the game.
Yeah.
You know? He's talking to us every mission. We get to see, like, character development for him.
Yeah.
You know, as much as it was predictable what happened with him, like, at least it makes sense for the way his character was written.
Yeah.
You know, there's actually legitimate character development there. Like, the Monitor is just, like... As I said, he's just a dude who shows up, and it's like, people tell you he's the bad guy, and then it turns out, yeah, he's the bad guy.
He's the bad guy.
Like, oh, okay, like, sure, I guess.
I just never, and then the Dominion's supposed to be like this huge threat, right? Oh, and that's another thing, right? So the guy that they show at the beginning, where they first invaded that city, I thought that was, the lackey, the Monitor's main boss guy, you know? Yeah. They never showed him again, I don't think. So
they did not.
Yeah. So then you beat the game. Okay. I'm sorry. Let me start talking about the Dominion some more, right? So the Dominion, they're supposed to be like this badass, like intelligent company that will fuck you up, right? Like, to me, they kind of compared them to some of the people, the simps from the Commonwealth in Fallout 4. Oh, yeah. Those people, the Institute.
Yeah.
So they're supposed to be highly intelligent because you talk to this spy dude, right? And he has like this dual personality they plant inside him where it comes out he's, you know, it's a really good storyline in my opinion, but they do nothing with it. So then that's what the Dominion's supposed to be. But when you fight a Dominion, I mean, they have javelins and stuff like that and certain monsters, but they don't feel threatening at all, like at all. So then let's fast forward to the end of the game. You beat the game. You beat the Monitor, who's literally a giant fucking version of himself.
Oh my god.
The most generic boss ever. I was like, what is this, Zelda? Because I feel like I was fighting Ganondorf. Oh
my god. Yeah, he literally just becomes like Ant-Man. And he hits the enlarge button, and he just becomes a giant version of himself. And he has this giant pole sword thing that he's fucking attacking you with. Like,
yeah, I don't. And we have guns.
Yeah, I know. Fucking... I'm like, why is he melee attacking us? And I'm like, dude, I'm just sitting in a corner, like going, brrr, like it's like, okay.
He looks like he was a storm.
Yeah.
Like, why wasn't he using magic or not?
Fucking no, dude. Dude, we don't know anything about this guy. That's my point.
Yeah, like we know nothing about this guy. So that happens, right? So you get to the end of the game, fast forward, blah, 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 blah. Freelancer, come in this dark room with us. Keep it top secret. Get there. Oh, shit. This alien guy took out 20 of our people.
Yeah.
Honestly, that seemed more interesting because they were like very spooked out about this dude.
I agree.
And that seemed very...
Well, they had talked about them before.
Yeah.
That race. Because that was the race that like enslaved humans for like hundreds of years.
Okay,
and that was the race that humans got out from underneath of, and that's what General Tarsus did. Is she got out from underneath that race? Like she helped humanity like rise up and take over basically. And they hadn't seen that race in like 200 or 300 years or something like that. That's why they were so spooked, because there had been no hide nor hair of those. That race of whatever that race is, I forget. I can't remember the name of them, but I think it was Urgoth or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. They hadn't seen the Urgoth in so long; they didn't think they existed anymore. And the fact that they're around again is extremely terrifying for them. Right? It's like they can deal with the Dominion, they can deal with the Scars, they can deal with the fucking Outlaws. I mean, they've been doing that forever. But the Urgoth, like, that's a legitimate threat. So that's why they were so spooked, right? But they had kind of established them. I think. I'm trying to remember.
See, some of the
I think I read like a lore entry about them or something like that.
I didn't read the lore entries yet.
So yeah, I'm not even sure the main story actually did mention them. I don't think it ever did. I think it was like.
I think it is a codec entry after they like mention something, or if you start doing side stuff. But
yeah,
I mean, they were spooked about that, but that's the next act, guys. We gotta wait.
So yeah, that's my issue. Is that's why it's so clear that there's more that they didn't put in this game that is coming out in the next 3 months, is that the Urgoth seem like the Act 2 of this game, you know? Like, Act 1 was the Monitor, and I think you're right. I think the Monitor is, like, kind of the guy to get your, like, blood pumping a little bit, and the Urgoth are like the legitimate threat to get you fucking terrified and really motivate you to like fucking kick ass, you know?
I feel like they're trying to do the same thing they did with Saren, right? Saren was the guy that did get your blood pumping.
Yep.
He mocked you at every turn. Not only that, but because the Taurians had a huge issue with the humans, so he was Taurian. He's like, man, you're a fucking filthy human. What the fuck are you going to do to me? Like, you're not going to do anything to me. And I feel like they wanted to do that with this guy, but he just didn't have enough screen time. Like, you see him 2 missions.
Yep.
He talks to you, like, I think during 1 mission.
Well, he talks to you more in the final mission than he does for the whole rest of the game put together. Like,
I just don't care. Like, I don't care what you have to say, bro.
No.
Like,
no, he's not, like, relevant. He's not, like, a relevant threat.
Yeah.
Because he's not present, you know? I think that's the issue with the game's story, is that it's just, like, it just doesn't develop his villain. It develops side characters a lot more than it develops you. And you, like... It's just annoying. You're just kind of like a passenger. It feels like you're just kind of there.
Yeah,
you're the one saving everybody's ass, but it's like you're just like kind of there. Like people are like, and that's the other thing. You don't have a name. They just call you freelancer.
Well, I mean,
like,
they did that in all BioWare games, so I can't really complain about that.
I mean, the thing is though, Mass Effect, like Shepard was the name of the person that you were playing. It was Commander Shepard. Like, that's his real name or her real name, right? It's like your character doesn't have that in this game. They just call you freelancer, which is a generic thing that they could literally call any freelancer. It's like, it's
and then in Dragon Age, or Inquisition, they called you the Inquisitor.
Yeah.
But it was only one Inquisitor, which was you, so that had a uniqueness to it.
Yeah, so it's like in this game, you're not... Like, they don't give you anything unique, like, to really identify you. And you don't get to make your own character. And you never really see your character besides their face in a couple cutscenes.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't feel attached to my character in any way.
At all.
Really. And it's just, I don't know, it's just lacking in that way. So
yeah, you can't... like, even with Dragon Age Inquisition, even with Mass Effect, your characters had dialogue trees. But if you were playing this role, right, which it is a role-playing game, if you wanted to be a fucking asshole as Commander Shepard, you can be a fucking asshole. Every choice had the option of, like, screw off. I don't fucking care.
Kill people, you can do whatever you want.
In one part, which is my favorite part throughout the whole game, that they do consistently in all 3 games, you talk to this reporter, and you have the choice of slapping the reporter or not.
Yeah.
During the interview.
Yeah.
And it's so cool. But... Or you had the choice not to do that. If that's not your character you're playing, if you want to play a nice Commander Shepard, well, you can talk to the and defend yourself and everything like that. In this game, the dialogue choices do not make sense because you can't, in my opinion, be an asshole. You can like say
certain characters,
characters you can, but it's not consistent.
But it doesn't have an impact though.
Exactly.
Like you can be an asshole, but it's like they don't even remember you were an asshole.
Yeah.
You know, and like Mass Effect, you could be an asshole, and that would cut off an entire dialogue tree. Like if you were an asshole to somebody, well, they just don't want to talk to you anymore. Like you're done. You know,
you can't even do it like their loyalty mission or something like that.
Yeah. This game doesn't have any of that. It's like the dialogue happens no matter what you say, no matter what you do. They say the same thing no matter what you say, no matter what you do. Like you're gonna get a variation depending on the choice you make initially on like the first line, but I don't think it generally has that big of an impact. And even if it does, it's like if you tell somebody to leave Fort Tarsis, they may eventually leave if you keep pushing that on them, but it's like who cares? It's just one less person for you to talk to. It's like
their presence doesn't
their presence doesn't add anything to Fort Tarsis. You don't get like a shop opening or anything like that. There's no like special quests they give you or anything. It's just like I don't know.
And then just lore wise, there are 3 main factions in Fort Tarsis: the Arcanists, the Freelancers, and the Sentinels.
Yeah.
So like we were talking about earlier, you get a progression system with each one. They make no difference, in my opinion. I mean, you get master craft works or recipes or something like that. But
yeah, you get recipes.
You get recipes, but I feel like they should have added more.
But crafting is like fucking so shallow.
Yeah.
In this game,
like maybe with the Arcanist, you get more with the Sentinels, you get more defensive options, or you get more defensive components, or more something focused around defense. With the Arcanists, you get more something focused around like laser, ballist, or ability damage. And then the Freelancers, you get something focused around more ballistic type stuff. Or they could have done something with these classes. I just did that on the fly. You had 6 years and you couldn't think of anything like that, or maybe they did. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I bet they've played around with a lot of stuff. I mean, before we get into that part of the conversation, there's more. I think there's still some more to talk about too. Okay. Like the actual missions in the open world. Is the open world design is the sad part is the game looks beautiful.
Gorgeous.
The game looks really gorgeous, and when it's loaded, when it finally finishes loading, the game actually runs really, really well.
Yeah, I don't
it's
have
very
any
well optimized.
Frame drops.
Yeah, there's not a lot of frame drops, even when there's a ton of shit happening. Like I actually was really impressed with how much the game could handle from that regard. The problem is, loading. It's like, dude, there's a loading screen for everything in this fucking game, and there are long loading screens too. Like loading into a mission is like 1.5 to 2 minutes. And then coming out of a mission is 1.5 to 2 minutes. Then you have to load to go into your fucking inventory in the forge. Then you have to load again to leave your inventory.
Yeah.
Then you have to load to go into the fucking vault. Then you have to load to come out of the vault. And it's just like, guys, you couldn't have either A, eliminated these loading screens, or B, done something like Destiny did at least, where something's happening on the screen instead of having a static image on your fucking loading screen, or at least let people read your all these fucking codex entries that you give us. Maybe let us read them while the game is loading, you know? Like something like that. But no, the game's just got these static images that are the same, 5 or whatever that it cycles through every fucking time, and it's like, dude, there's so much loading in this game that it's just like, at a certain point, like, dude, I found myself like falling asleep later on in some of our sessions, because it's just like nothing's happening. I'm not playing the game, so I'm like not engaged. So I'm just sitting in my chair and I'm tired, and I'm like resting my eyes for a minute while the game's loading, and it's like all of a sudden it's like oh shit, like I'm like find myself like almost falling asleep, because it's like they're so long sometimes, and then once the missions themselves too are just like, dude, it's like so samey. There's just not a lot of interesting mission design. There's like 4 different objectives you'll have, where it's like kill all the enemies, defend a point while it charges, collect the fucking glowy orb balls, and bring them to the fucking spiky things that are coming out of the ground.
Same puzzle that you saw 5 times.
solve puzzles that are the same like 80 different times, or the Shaper relics exploding and bring the fragments to quell its explosion, and that's pretty much it. That's like the whole game. I just explained like every objective in this fucking game. So the disappointing part is, like, as we said, the game is fun to play, but when you do this over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, like you're doing these same objectives over and over and over again, it's just eventually it gets to the point where you're just like, I just like, why?
Yeah, the gameplay loop is the other aspect of the gameplay loop is very boring. Especially when you're actually playing and fighting monsters and stuff like that, or fighting enemies, it's fun. But then when you have to do the actual objectives, besides like the King of the Hill situations, the game feels like trash. Like even when you do like one of the strongholds, I don't know about the other ones, but when you do one of the strongholds, it's to collect the orbs thing, like
the tire mine,
the tire mine. You collect the orbs, and I feel like it should be like a dungeon, a progressive dungeon type situation. If I'm doing the stronghold, I didn't play the other 2 strongholds yet, so
well, they just happen in the open world. Like, the quote unquote strongholds, which are like this game's equivalent of strikes or dungeons, from like an MMO or something. For the most part, they just take place out in the open world like any other mission does.
Yeah, and they're not unique.
They're not really unique. The areas aren't unique. I will say the Scar one is extremely unique. That one is like its own environment.
Okay.
Which was actually a really cool mission the first time you do it. I'm sure after you do it like 35 fucking times, it's not
That's
fun
the temple
anymore.
one, right? The one in the temple? The Scar Temple?
Yeah, Scar Temple.
I didn't do that one yet, so...
That's the one you unlock after the campaign.
Yeah.
That one's actually pretty cool. But the other one... Dude, this... So... Oh, man, we're like jumping around. Yeah, sorry, I think I cut you off about the stronghold design or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't. I think it should be a progressive dungeon type situation. I mean,
yeah, I agree.
That kind of ties in with the lore because the lore has these things called relics or shapers, right?
The shaper relics,
relics,
which are supposed to be these things that like can fucking destroy the environment or like reshape the environment and do all sorts of crazy shit. I mean, there's points in the story where it multiplies a character by 3, and there's like 3 of him literally in reality. They're supposed to be able to bend reality, like change time and things like that.
Yep,
it's
exactly.
Like we never see any of this play out in actual gameplay, and this is a really disappointing thing that I was bringing up to you earlier. Is that, dude, this is a literal in-lore explanation of how you can make dungeon runs different every time.
Exactly.
Where you can either change the landscape. That's kind of hard, so I don't expect that. But put some kind of parameter on the mission where you can't use certain guns, you can't use certain abilities, you can't use certain elements of abilities. Like you can't use, I don't know, you just put parameters on the mission to change it up every time and make it a little bit more challenging, you know?
Yeah, I say like they should, if they can't do it like a procedurally generated dungeon, if you enter one, just have like 10 pre-made ones
or different variations.
Different variations on,
which would be cool.
Yeah,
that'd be cool too.
And you progress through it. You don't have to collect orbs or something, or maybe there are little puzzles in between progression. But I want to feel like I'm progressing towards like a final boss that's going to make me, have to think. That's another thing too. It's like even when you do fight these titans, which are like some of the bosses in the game, I feel like the gameplay could be intuitive, but it's so much latency between your movement and the attacks that it kind of breaks the game for me.
You can't cleanly dodge things.
Yeah, and they want you to cleanly dodge things.
They're trying to create this like World of Warcraft like dodge the fire kind of thing. It's literally dodging fire in Anthem as well with the Titans, and the game's just not up to the task. Like you will jump over one of the fire rings, and then all of a sudden you've gotten hit by the other one, even though on your screen you're not. You actually dodged it. You know, it's like so. It's definitely frustrating from that regard.
And it's just
well,
I guess, So
the other thing too is the so you finish the game and you think like, right, oh okay, there's a ton of like activities to do now, right? No. Once you finish the main campaign and you finish all the side quests that are remaining, guess what there is to do? 3 strongholds, one of which you already did in the story, a second of which is literally the final mission of the game, just copy-pasted into a stronghold, and then one more stronghold that is the Scar Temple that is actually a unique new mission that we haven't done before.
Okay.
And then there's 3... quote legendary contracts that the side quest givers all give you, one every day, and that's it. You can repeat contracts with them after that, but they're not legendary. They don't give you a guaranteed masterwork, a Grandmaster 1 or higher, the way legendaries do. And that's it. That's all you have. That's all the content in the end game. There's nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, I have nothing to say about that because
that's insane.
Yeah, I mean,
Destiny 1 had more than that. Destiny fucking
had a
won.
raid.
It had nightfalls at least. Like it like there was multiple strikes to do. You know, it's like there was PvP. Like that game actually had some stuff to do.
Yeah,
and
this game has
game's got nothing, dude. There's no PvP. The stuff I just mentioned is literally it. You're supposed to just repeat that shit endlessly. For now, until more content's released, and I'm done. I'm at 30, and I told you guys today I'm done. I don't want to play anymore. Like I'm not doing that. I am not grinding my head into a wall, doing the same shit over and over and over again. Like it's not worth my time. The itemization's not fun enough. The character customization's basically non-existent to the point where it's like. And the itemization too is boring. Like it's boring. It's literally just numbers going up, and like there's different stats that your gear will give you, but I don't care enough to like play that game. You know, like I don't want to min max myself in this game because I just don't feel like it matters that much. You know?
No, I mean you're right. I like the game a lot. It's just there's not enough content to hold me. Like there's not, and that's a legit criticism, and that you're giving it. I feel like it's very warranted because it's just. I mean, I guess it kind of segues into like the development that we want to kind of speak on because
this game's clearly missing a lot.
Yeah, it's missing a lot.
It's clearly a game
this didn't take 6 years to make. This current incarnation of this game did not take 6 years to make. And there is a lot. I think we should have all seen this coming, and I think we all did. Like, I didn't expect this game to be amazing. I don't think you did either.
I didn't, but it's like we had 2 games.
I think I expected more than this, though.
Yeah, we had 2 games that had the exact same issue.
Yeah.
Content.
Yeah.
Like, you had 6 years to do this. You had since 2012 to do this.
Well, so there's a lot that's been written about this game's development, and we have a few articles about things that have happened, and these were reported on at the time, and I think a lot of us didn't take these things. I think a lot of people didn't necessarily take these things too seriously because they happened distance enough from each other that we didn't put the pieces together. But now looking back, it's actually kind of crazy how much shit happened to this game. So Casey Hudson was the original director for this game, and he left the studio, I think, in 2013 or 2014. 2014. He left the studio for 3 years, and then Aaron Flynn took over. Then Aaron Flynn, in 2017, decided to leave the company, and Casey Hudson came back and became the director again. So that's one thing to note. Then one of the lead writers, Drew Karpyshyn, left the studio, and this guy had been with BioWare for fucking like 15 years or 20 years or something like that. This guy was like a this guy was like a long timer with BioWare. He left the studio, I believe, in 2017 as well, or no, 2018. It looks like, yeah, he left the studio in 2018 as well. That was like a year ago. And this guy was one of the primary writers for like Mass Effect, you know,
and Knights of the Old Republic.
So this guy is legit, dude. And he left the studio. Then you had this one's a little bit sadder. Is in 2017 as well, the lead designer for Anthem, Corey Gasper, passed away. And there's nothing BioWare can do about that.
Yeah,
but
nothing.
and you know, that's a sad thing to happen for the studio, but that has an impact though on the game's development, right?
Because he did some of the designing for Mass Effect 2, 3, Dragon Age Origins, and
Anthem.
Yeah, and Anthem.
And Anthem was the game he had been working on. And like, dude, like whatever his vision was, he wasn't there to shepherd it personally anymore. So things may have changed, and it's just like the fact that I think the thing I come away with though from all these stories is that this game, it's obvious that this game had to have been restarted. Development had to have been restarted for it at least once.
Yeah,
I think it's possible it's happened twice, actually. In that this game, the game we have now, was probably a Destiny situation where they probably rebooted this game like a year ago, and they delayed the game because they knew they needed a little bit more time to actually get something competent out the door.
Yeah. And
we got what we have right now. You know? That's kind of my feeling on it. I mean, what about you? Where are you at with that, I guess?
I mean, shit. Dude, like, the game is just missing so much shit, man. It's just so apparent.
Yeah.
And
well, the promotional material is also like a real kind of travesty for it. You know?
I'm reading like that
the Reddit thread,
and all the pictures they showed, and yeah, I remember all this in the trailer.
I do too. I forgot about a lot of it, but
yeah. And this game's nothing like this.
Yeah, so the game they showed us in E3 2017 when this was revealed is nothing like the game we got.
Yeah.
Obviously, that was like 2 years ago, so I can kind of give them a pass for that. But then at E3 last year, and then for several months after E3, they released a few gameplay videos. And even in those videos, there are things in those videos that just like literally aren't in this game. Like, it's just like functionality. Dude, like... Like things like Striders walking around, which is like one of the most hilarious things if you really like pay attention. How many missions did you remember us going to like save a Strider?
Each Strider that we saw in the game never walked.
It never moved. It literally didn't move. It was just a static object in the game that never moved. And all the trailers for this game showed Striders moving around within the game world. Like almost all of them. And it's like, I mean, I'm sure some of you probably think like, it's not that big of a deal, but it's like it makes the world feel more alive and immersive and more dynamic, right?
Yeah, you can use Striders as mobile bases. Like, they look like they had
imagine,
huge part of the game.
Dude, imagine if there were NPCs you could get quests from, or like little quests from out in the open world with Striders walking around and they're kind of moving around the map. You know, it's like they're not always in the same spot. It'd be kind of cool, right? Or maybe you'd have dynamic events where these Striders get attacked or whatever, you know, while they're moving around and they're trying to fight back or whatever, and you come in and like save the day or whatever, like things like that. But I don't know. It's just it's just a really sad thing. Like I remember that first trailer from E3 2017, dude, and I remember what they showed is like the game felt like Fort Tarsus looked like it was so alive,
yeah,
you know, and there were tons of NPCs and they were all interacting with each other, and like there was tons of dynamic shit happening, and it's just like none of that's here. It's like none of that's in this game, and I think we could have a different conversation about the way video game developers and publishers market their games prior to release. I don't think I want to have that conversation now, but I think this game was marketed and shown in a way that is really misleading, right, to generate hype, where you're showing things that are never gonna see the light of day in your game, you know. And this is like 8 months ago. This isn't even like a year ago.
That's what's so surprising about it. Like,
yeah, that's the wild part about this. Dude.
It was dubbed as a full gameplay trailer. And this was 8 months ago. You can do all this stuff.
Yeah,
and like the main mission guy that they show all the time in the trailers, like he's not there.
Yep.
So
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Like. This game had to have issues, man.
No, it's
I wish
obvious.
they'd just come out and say it. Just come out. But maybe players would be more understanding.
They can't, though. They can't. Because,
God.
EA would never let them. I think the reality is we're going to see like a Jason Schreier Kotaku article about this in
he's been quiet on this game.
3 to 6 months, and yeah, he's probably working on this right now. He's probably working on that article like right now. Like, or he's actually writing another book as well. Development of certain games. I could see this game being in that book potentially.
Yeah.
So we'll find out more. I almost feel extremely confident that in the coming months we will hear more about the development of this game and what really went on behind the scenes. I think it's pretty excuse me. I think it's pretty obvious that this game had a lot of issues, and that there's no way that this is what 6 years got them, like, straight up. You know, there would definitely had to have been a restart somewhere in there, and I wonder why. I don't know.
Maybe it was unoptimized, like the stuff that they wanted to do.
It's possible that what they were trying to do was too much for current consoles to handle. That's very possible.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a shame to think about, but it almost makes me wonder, though, like, why didn't this game just get canceled, dude? You know?
It was... Mass Effect died for this game. I don't think that was in...
I think EA is just desperate to have their own destiny.
Yeah.
You know? They just want their own destiny, which is silly because they have Apex now, which is really funny that they came out in the same month. But...
It's just... It's just weird that... Yeah, EA probably wanted their own destiny, but... I feel like Destiny killed Destiny.
Yeah.
You know, like, I feel like...
No, I told you. I think this is exactly the same arc that MMOs went down. You know, it's like,
yeah.
I think we're on the tail end of this looter shooter thing. Like, I don't expect many more of these games to come out.
Yeah, because it's just too much to handle.
It's too ambitious. You need to do too much. These launches are always terrible. They've all been bad. Every single one of them. Like, I don't. There's no exception.
And the thing about it is, it's honestly, you know what? I think we're underestimating what developers can do.
No, I'm not underestimating what they can do. They can make a competent looter shooter. That's not what I'm saying. I think the thing is, to do that, you need the perfect set of circumstances to coalesce for you, and that just doesn't seem possible with these big publishers. You know?
Yeah, I mean, because if Blizzard can release World of Warcraft in the state that it was released in,
I mean, that game had a rocky launch too, though.
But it was still better than this. I don't remember.
I mean, definitely.
Yeah,
for sure.
It was better than Destiny 1.
But
2.
dude, World of Warcraft. Okay, this isn't even a comparison. Vanilla World of Warcraft, the level of content in that game compared to this is like it's like a fucking joke. There's no fucking comparison.
That's exactly what I'm saying, though.
Yeah,
they could potentially, especially with
there's literally hundreds of hours of content in Vanilla World of Warcraft. Like, I'm
assuming this is just me assuming, just based off like technology, things would get more streamlined. Yeah. So I would think and hope that a company could, like, just say Division, for example. Like, I would think and hope a company could make the Division very good with lots of content out the gate. If you intend, you can't just release a half-ass game and be like, oh yeah, we're going to support it later, guys.
Yeah, we're going to fix it in a year.
No, like, you have to have a competent game. Or not a competent
is
game.
Is that true though? Because didn't Destiny kind of prove the opposite? Because that game came out, the original Destiny came out with nothing, dude, and then that game became like the biggest fucking game on the planet for a couple of years. You know, obviously it's waning now, but I mean they're still making a ton of money off it.
I will say this: the reason why Destiny gets a pass is because it was kind of the first game of its time. Yeah, I mean you can debate that with Borderlands 2.
A lot of people have been bringing that game up, and it's.
You don't think it's the same level?
No, because it's a single player game.
Yeah,
like yes, it has co-op in it, but it's not shared. It's not a shared world shooter. There's no matchmaking in fucking Borderlands. Like, I mean, I think there technically is matchmaking, but you don't like the game doesn't tell you to play multiplayer.
Yeah,
like
you're right.
It's like you can play the whole game by yourself.
Yeah,
and that's how I played it. You know, whether the game's fun that way is a different conversation. But
yeah.
That game also came out in a different time period. I actually kind of wonder if Borderlands 3 is going to be a shared world shooter.
I don't even think they're making a Borderlands 3.
They definitely are. There's no way they're not. Gearbox would be insane if they're not working on Borderlands 3 right now. And they've talked about that they are working on the game, like, at PAX and stuff. So,
I mean, the reason why Destiny 1 was so unique was because not only did we see the potential in that game, but Bungie saw the potential in that game, and they actually actively worked to make the game better.
Yeah,
and it was content there to keep us going, the PvP, and I mean you had the Taken King and everything like that. Now, I say that to think, okay, when part 2 comes out. Because first of all, we didn't even think we were getting a part 2. We thought it was just going to be like season 1,
Destiny
season 2.
forever, yeah.
Destiny
Perpetual
forever.
Destiny.
Yeah, we didn't think it was going to be a Destiny 2, 3, 4 or whatever. Because they said a 10-year plan.
I thought there was, but
I thought it was going to be
because
like
the contract specifically said that they needed to make 3 or 4 games.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. I just thought it was a 10-year plan. That's it. All right. But so even still though, you get the Destiny 2, right?
Yep.
Everybody and they mama. What would you think of a sequel of a game? Okay, we're gonna take everything we learned from the last game, and we're gonna improve upon that. We're gonna take that staple and improve upon it. Nope, Destiny didn't do that. Destiny was like, oh, we're gonna do the same shit over again.
Yeah. Well, they stripped out all the improvements from Destiny 1 and just made a base game again. And dude, this is a thing that frustrates me with like Civilization. Actually, that series does the same thing where they'll make Civ 6 and then they'll release 2 expansions that add all these really cool features to the game, and then all of a sudden Civ 7 is going to come out and it's not going to have any of the features from the expansions. And then they're going to release new expansions that add those features back in. It's like, what the fuck? Fuck that shit. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, isn't the point to make the series better over time? Like, not just keep releasing a different looking version of the same thing over and over again? Like,
yeah, and honestly, we were baited and switched with that one because I feel like it did sell well. It did sell well because we thought like the game was going to be a lot more content than we got the content, and we're like, holy shit, it's Destiny 1 all over again, but it's much worse. Oh,
dude. No, Destiny 2 was really bad.
Yeah, and they were like, it's Destiny 1 all over again, but it's much worse. And then the content they did release was trash. In my opinion, it was enough for me to come back.
Well, Forsaken apparently made the game amazing.
But yeah, they released 3 content
four.
Before.
No, because there were two. There were two after the game came out, like pretty close to each other. Then there was Warmind that came out in May of last year, and then there was Forsaken, which came out in September.
Yeah. So before we got to Forsaken, it was 3. It was the same thing with Destiny 1. We had 3 of those 3 contents. It was the House of Wolves, something else, and something else, and then we had Taken King. And then we had Rise of Iron as Taken King.
Yep. Yeah.
But by the time Taken King came out, they already had established, like, we're not going to make the same mistakes. We got a live team on this, and we're listening to you guys. And it showed.
Yeah.
But we expected that with Destiny 2, and we didn't get that. So that's why I'm really looking at Division. Division has to learn from Division 1.
Yeah,
I'm
really intrigued by Division 2, like what it's going to look like. I mean, I feel like the way they're selling the game right now is that it has a lot of content in it, and that there's like all this end game shit to do, and that there's going to be a raid coming out like right the first week of the game's launch and everything. I'm not sure I trust them.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where I'm at with this. I actually am kind of like, as much as I was excited for the Division 2, I'm actually worried.
It's Anthem's fault, to be honest with you.
It is Anthem's fault, and I mean it's Bungie's fault too. Bungie did this to us too.
Yeah,
you know, but I mean, Ubisoft themselves did it too, because dude, the Division 1 didn't have anything to do with max level when it came out. It was like.
And that was also downgraded, because I remember seeing the visuals.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And I don't mind visual downgrades, but the core gameplay
downgrades. Yeah, though, that's like, come on.
And this is
guys.
what this game did. The gameplay downgrade.
Because that's what sells me on a game is the gameplay, right?
Exactly.
Is that's what truly sells me on a game is what the game looks like.
In my opinion, this game could have been potentially okay as a stylized shooter type game.
Yeah.
Like, they could have made it cell shaded if they had to downgrade the graphics or change the graphics.
For what, Anthem?
Anthem, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They could have did that, because, I mean, mechs, they could have went with like a Japanese style type, AMA type.
Why don't you just go with like Warframe's style? I mean, this game gets compared to Warframe like constantly, so fuck it, just lean into it, you know?
So, like, they could have did that if that was the issue of style, if, graphics with realism was too much on the engine. Change to a stylized thing, because that's what Nintendo does to get past its graphical limitations.
Yeah.
But this game, in my opinion, is getting so much flack as well from me, from you, from everyone else, is because it had probably like 3 years in development to learn from these other companies.
Yeah, 2014 on.
Yeah.
They should have been paying attention.
They should have, if they had their base game done, let's say by 2014 they had it done.
Yep.
And they're like, oh, shit. Okay, guys, let's start adding content. Let's start doing this. Let's actually give the players what we wanted to give them.
But that's why I think the game rebooted at some point. Because I'm sure they had all that, and then for some reason they had to scrap a bunch of shit,
It's just sad, man.
I don't know why EA, though, thinks this is acceptable to release a game in this state, I mean... There's this thing called like a minimum viable product, and that's what Anthem is like. It is literally a minimum viable product, because it is the bare minimum that a game needs, to be like even remotely acceptable. And this is just like not acceptable though to me. You need more than this. Like you can't.
Do. I feel bad that I bought this game.
I do
because
too.
I feel like I'm supporting.
I'm already thinking about selling it. Like I don't. Like, it's like, dude, if I want to play it in the summer, it's like the game's going to be like fucking $10 in the summer by the time summertime rolls around.
Yeah, I feel like I'm supporting the habit that game developers are getting into.
I'm sick of this shit, too. Yeah, it's exactly what I was talking about earlier. Is like, this is not cool to people like you and I who are early adopters, and we get fucked because we decided to support your game right away. Like, we're the ones that get fucked over. Like, we're supporting the fucking rest of this game's development, and other people are going to be the beneficiaries of that. It's like, and yeah, some people would say, well, then if you want to be a beneficiary of the development of this game, why don't you stick around? It's like, what? Like, how long do I have to wait? Like, when's this first content pack coming out? Because I don't even know.
You should wait. You should have to wait until February 22nd when the game fucking relaunch.
Fucking exactly.
That's
dude.
when you should have to wait.
And dude, if you have all this content planned, all this fucking wonderful rollout planned, you should have delayed this fucking game until June. finished all this add-on content bullshit that you're releasing over the next 3 months, get away from the Division 2 because you're not going to compete with that game clearly in the state this game was in. They should have fucking known that, and I'm sure they do know that. That's what's so stupid, is these companies aren't dumb. They know how bad their games are. Like, they're not stupid. Like, I know for a fact that they do mock reviews, they QA test these games, like, they know the problems the game has. I guarantee you BioWare knows every issue this game fucking has, and has a vision for what they want this game to be. But for whatever reason, EA or BioWare themselves didn't want to push the game back any further. But dude, you know, like, I feel like it would have hurt the game less if you pushed it into June, got away from the Division 2, let the Division 2 launch, and if that game's bad, guess what? You're the one that's sitting in a situation where you can impress people now. Like,
exactly.
You know?
Or people would have got fatigued by June.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, with the Division 2, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
and they're looking for something else to play, right?
Exactly,
and maybe the content in Division 2 has kind of exhausted itself.
Yeah.
But but they decided to release it now. This game's gotten ridiculed. BioWare's getting ridiculed. EA obviously always gets ridiculed. And now we're sitting in a situation where Ubisoft's about to clean up, you know? Division 2 is going to be one of the top selling games of the year. Like, mark that now. Like, I'm saying that right now. This game will easily be in the top 5 of games sold by the end of this year. And I honestly think it could be the highest selling game of the year. Like, I will say, Call of Duty notwithstanding, but that is the only game that is on the docket for this year that I think could actually compete with the Division 2.
I will say, I don't know about that. I think the first week and first impressions are really going to impact its sales. If it does deliver on everything it promised, if it does truly incorporate everything that you had from Division 1, then yes, I agree with you.
I don't think it matters. I think this game was so bad. This game's launch has been so bad that I think there's a ton of people who skipped Anthem and are now waiting for the Division 2. I think there's a ton of people like that.
I mean, you're right, but there's going to be a ton of people who did buy Division or Anthem, and they're like, I don't want this. I don't want the same thing to happen to me again. You know what I'm saying?
Gamers just don't think like that, dude. They don't. They're way more. They just follow the hype trains, man. A lot of people just follow the hype trains. They just follow the next hype train.
Unfortunately, we did. We did.
Well, I mean, the thing is like, we have a podcast and we wanted to cover this game, you know.
Yeah.
And I think, as I told you, I think if I weren't in the situation I'm in right now, I would have never bought this game. Like,
yeah, I probably wouldn't have bought it.
Like,
either.
if I didn't have you and Jet to play with, I would not have bought this game and played it. Like, I knew what I was getting into. I didn't expect this game to be a 10. Like,
I expected at least to be like a 7 or an 8. It's like a 6 or a 5.
It's a 5. It's actually a 4 in my opinion. I think it's a subpar. I think it's a bad game. Like, I can't even defend it. Like, it is a subpar video game. Like, it's below average. I can't think. There's like a couple things that it does well, and then everything else it does is bad. Like,
yeah, you're right.
It's like, I'm just being honest about it. You know?
Yeah, I mean, when I play the game, I'm like, all right. When I played the demo, I was like, all right, cool. There has to be a lot more stuff, but I should have seen the signs right there. Like, the demo is what we got.
Yeah, we got... The thing is, the demo, they were really clever with the demo because they gave us the best part of the game. Like, because you got to do a stronghold, which was like one of the most fun missions in the game to do.
Yeah.
And then you got to do a couple story missions, and they were good story missions, though. The ones that, like, you know, the one with Matthias or whatever, where you do the little puzzle and all that, and then you fought the Ascari in the other one at the very end of the story missions, right? And remember how hard that fight was?
Yeah.
Like, that was really fun for us. And then in the actual game, we're playing on normal, and it's like fucking face roll easy, you know? It's like, dude, I remember when I got to that mission, I literally laughed out loud at how easy it was. I was like, man, dude, we spent like 2 hours on this when we were doing the demo.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know.
And it was a lot earlier too. Like, in a demo, you're like level 10 or level 15 or something like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I did that at like level 20 something.
Yeah, and that's what makes me feel like they cut a lot of content out. Yeah. Because
well, you think they cut content like that shortly before the game came out, though?
Yes, man.
I don't. That seems crazy.
Why would they put you at level 15 and let you go against that hard ass boss?
I don't know. Could be a lot of reasons. Whoever was designing that didn't think about it very hard.
I mean,
also, the game's leveling is pointless, so it doesn't really matter what level they put you at. The experience would be the same no matter what level you're at. Whether you're level 1 or level 30 or level 12 or 15 or whatever the fuck, it doesn't matter. The difference of the gameplay is not... There's no difference between being level 1 and level 30, really.
I feel what's the like the little old term, swindled or
Swindled.
I feel
Conned.
Yeah, conned. Like I just
BioWare's the con man,
like,
man.
That's like a harsh word to say for a video game.
It is pretty harsh.
But like I kind of do, man. I kind of feel like I'm so tired of saying for these looter shooters, I see the potential. Destiny's the same way. Like
I'm tired of that defense
Yeah.
too. Is like I keep hearing people saying like, "Man, they're adding all this content." Like Jet keeps bringing that up because I think he realizes that we're kind of critical on the game, but he's like, "Man, but they're already working on new stuff." I'm like, I don't care that they're working on new stuff. The game I have right this second sucks. Like it's like it sucks. It's like I don't know what else to say. It's like I don't care if the game's going to be good in 3 weeks. I'm not going to be playing it in 3 weeks. I'm going to be playing the Division 2.
So have you heard about that festival that happened a while back, the Fire Festival?
Yeah.
Yeah, people were calling this Fire Festival the game.
Oh no, that's mean. That's fucking mean, dude. This isn't that bad.
I guess we could blame Ja Rule for this.
Yeah. Nah, man. Fire Festival, I mean, for people who don't know, Fire Festival was like this thing that got hyped on social media, and they like sold all these tickets for this huge fucking event, and it was fake. Like, the event didn't happen. People got flown out to this island and basically got stranded there for like 3 days, and there was nothing there. Like, there was no event. The event didn't happen. Like, they just took everybody's money and ran. Like, this game is not that. Okay? It's not that. It's not that bad. It's not that bad.
Yeah, and then if we're gonna get loading screens, right? Why not have like
that's what I'm saying. Like,
javelins, like us gearing to the javelin, or
they do though, dude. You know the loading screen, like right before you go into the loading screen, where your javelin.
What you just
you
say?
see your
loading screen before you go into the loading screen. Exactly. I know exactly what part you're talking about.
Like, yeah, when your character's like getting into the javelin and you see it like, the screws like going in and it's like showing spinning your javelin around or whatever. Why is that not the actual just loading screen? Why is it that screen happens, that like really cool looking cinematic happens, that like CGI cutscene happens, and then the game just cuts you off sometimes? It just cuts it off before it finishes and goes into a loading screen. I don't like it. What? What are we doing, guys?
This game's. That's all I got to say.
I don't know. I can't talk about it anymore.
I mean, because
look,
we're moving into like Kingdom Hearts 3 territory now.
We are. But like, guys, if you like Anthem, I mean, the thing is, we like Anthem.
I actually
like the game.
Yeah.
I do like the game. I like the world. I like the world building. I mean, the characters are meh, but they can do that better. Like, that's not the issue. Like, I like the gameplay. I like the way the characters, like the javelins feel, but it's just so bare bones, man. They can do better than this. BioWare can do better than this. That's what's so depressing about this.
But you know what the real depressing thing is?
Maybe they can't.
Yeah, that I didn't even think about that. But yeah, maybe they can't, and maybe this studio, man, is about to close down.
I don't think so. Because, dude, if their life was really hinging on this game, why would they have revealed Dragon Age 4 at the Game Awards? Like, why would EA do that?
Yeah, that's true.
That is horrifically bad PR planning. If you are actually legitimately thinking about closing the studio based on this game's performance, like, that would be one of the worst things we've ever seen.
This game should not. This game should not be. It shouldn't have been released in this current state that it is.
No, I agree. It should have been delayed. It did everybody a disservice.
They have to get away from this engine. Like, Dragon Age 4 cannot be made in this engine. It takes too much development, bro. Like, if one developer just listens to our podcast or reads any comments on Reddit or anything, you gotta get rid of that Frostbite engine. You gotta convince EA to not let you do it, or you walk or something. You gotta stand up to these guys because this engine is killing your reputation. The last 3 games have literally killed you because of this engine.
I mean, dude, they're having to spend like literally years of development time putting tools into this engine to make it work.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, dude, they've made this engine so much more robust than it used to be from what I understand, and it's like they did all the work though. How do you put that on your development studios in the middle of making a game? They're trying to develop a game.
EA doesn't care, man.
Like, that is horrifically bad management. You shouldn't be having your studios develop an engine while they're trying to develop a fucking video game. Like, that's like, you should have a separate team developing the engine for them.
Yeah,
you
like,
know?
I understand. Each game has its own little separate engine or whatever the case may be, or to have tools that you allow the game to do, whatever the case. Mm-hmm. But like, I shouldn't have to redesign your whole entire fucking engine just to run with the game.
Just to make an RPG.
Yeah, just to make an RPG.
It's fucking stupid.
I honestly thought, like, maybe after that Dragon Age and after Mass Effect, like, okay, they learned their lesson with Anthem. They know how to run this engine. They know the ins and outs of this engine.
But the problem is, they've been working on this game since before both of those games came out. So it's like they didn't have time to learn anything, really. This game was just as tortured as those two probably were with Frostbite, you know? They were probably going through some of the same issues with Anthem that they were with the other 2 games, you know? That could explain why they needed to restart development, you know? So,
this is ridiculous.
So the next game they make, so Dragon Age 4, may actually be a good video game because they've like built out Frostbite now, you know? It's like it has what they need to make an RPG, you know?
I'm not holding my breath.
Me either. But I think that's it. Those are our thoughts on Anthem.
I'm so depressed.
Yeah, this year's been we picked a bad year to start a podcast, man. Holy shit, dude, we're like hyper negative. Like, I just want to talk about. God. So, guys, the thing is, like, Montrell and I have been talking. We've been playing Anthem, and like as I was saying earlier in the episode, playing Anthem is making me want to play Mass Effect. So Montrell and I are planning on playing Mass Effects 1 through 3 and Andromeda, and we're gonna talk about those whenever we finish them, and those will be like topics of the show. Trust me, those episodes, they're not going to be like this. They will be hyper
Maybe
positive.
Andromeda will.
Maybe Andromeda, yeah.
Andromeda
and I'm sure we will talk about BioWare and like how sad we are that they're not like this anymore. But dude, man, trust me on this. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm
looking forward to it so much. I can't wait to play fucking Mass Effect.
Yeah,
like,
before we like sign off, like, I do apologize because our podcasts have been kind of negative lately.
Yeah.
But I mean, guys, we expect quality games. We're 29, 30. We've been playing games for about 20, 30 years, or 20, 25
years.
25 years. And a lot of the games that we played that came out in the 90s were quality games.
They're better than this garbage.
Yeah, from smaller studios and
in shorter time frames. I mean, obviously they're working with like way less robust, tools, and like they don't need to do as much.
But they did something with those tools they had.
Yeah,
and even games in the early part of Gen 7, like really or Gen 7,
PS3.
Yeah, the PS3 generation. Like, those games are really good until they start getting really monetized at the end of the generation.
Well, even in the middle and the end of the generation, though, we still had things like The Last of Us and Mass Effect 3 and Mass Effect 2 even in the middle of the generation.
Yeah.
And, all the Uncharted games. I mean, dude, there's a ton of good games in Gen 7. I've actually been seeing on Twitter lately people, like, trashing this past generation, saying how garbage it was and how bad it was. It's like, guy, calm down. There's plenty of fucking good games in the PS3, Xbox 360 generation.
Wait, they were talking about the PS3 generation?
Yeah, they're saying it's like trash. Like, it's like it's like the worst generation for gaming.
No, it's definitely this generation, in my opinion.
Yeah. I actually kind of agree with you. Like, this generation, like, when I think about all the good games, there's a lot of good games, but there's less than I feel like last gen had.
Yeah, I can tell you one game that everyone always talks about is The Witcher. They always go back to The Witcher.
And that's like the only game anybody ever talks about.
Yeah.
And dude, there's way better games than The Witcher that came out this gen.
Like, yeah.
I mean, I love The Witcher 3. Don't get me wrong, it's a great game, but it's not the only game that's fucking good. Like God of War is a better game.
Yeah.
Like fucking Odin Sphere, the Odin Sphere remake
Horizon
was
Zero Dawn.
fucking amazing. Like I don't think Horizon's better, but
not better, but like as good.
it's on that.
Yeah.
It's close to that level though. You know, it's like there's other games. You know, Zelda for some people would be on there as well. Not for me, but you know. Zelda, this Nier Automata, that game was fucking incredible. Like, that's way better than The Witcher 3, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know what? I wouldn't say way better, but it's better.
It's better.
You know.
And then, I mean, like, on the same level of quality and things of that nature, you got Monster Hunter, you got the Resident Evil 2 remake.
For sure, dude. Yeah.
I was super positive about that game. Only reason we really didn't have a full podcast is because you didn't play it yet.
Well, I mean, dude, look.
And we were super positive on Assassin's Creed Odyssey, because that was a good game.
Yeah, let's hash something out real quick. If there's a game you want to devote topic of the show to, and I haven't played it, that's fine, dude. Like, I'm happy to let you talk. I talk way too much during this podcast. Like, fuck, dude. I'm losing my voice right now because I've talked so much during this fucking podcast. I'm sitting here sick.
I just didn't.
Look.
But just saying though, like, there are some good games that did come out this generation. I mean, we are getting those games. It's just we got to wait, I guess.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think it's going to be one of those situations like
this year's started rough, but there's some stuff on the horizon that I think is going to be. I think Division 2 legitimately, I'm still excited about it despite my qualms. I know you don't care about this game, but Days Gone, that could be good. You know, I
don't care about that game.
Jesus Christ, you're a fucking asshole. You're just writing it off. You're just like, poor Sony Ben, dude. That game is gonna die. Like it's gonna come out. And fuckers like you are gonna get Sony Ben closed because nobody's gonna buy this or fucking Days Gone.
I'm so over zombies.
I know.
Blame Walking
I understand.
Dead. Yeah.
Sony needs to get away from this shit. Like,
Yeah.
I can't believe they greenlit a third-person action zombie game when they have The Last of Us already. Like,
Exactly.
Guys, like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah, I know that's weird coming from like, oh, you just praise Resident Evil, but it's like that's like a nostalgia thing.
It's different though. Yeah, it's nostalgia.
Yeah.
It's not as like it's not
just only
it's not
zombies.
Days Gone. Yeah, it's not what Days Gone's gonna be.
Yeah, so.
But hey man, I was talking about Wargroove too. Like that's a game that came out this year. It's a good game. So there's some positivity. It's just I think the thing is like this year has been packed full of things so far that have been really controversial.
Yeah,
in my opinion,
yeah.
and it's like it's not gonna be like this forever,
Yeah.
right? Like when E3 comes, dude, I'm gonna be so excited about E3. I can't wait to talk about E3. So it's like. Understand that like we're being negative, but the positivity will come, and it's like as we talked about, it's like it's not even fully negative about Anthem. It's like I think Anthem's a much worse game than Kingdom Hearts 3, but I actually like personally probably like it more than Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, I do
for various reasons.
Yeah.
So
I'm not picking up Kingdom Hearts 3 ever again. All right, I'm not. That's okay.
But, okay. Anyways, that's it for this week, guys. If you want to talk to us on Twitter, Montrell is at iTrap for the Hokage. That is the number 4, not the word. I am at ThunderNut01. The podcast is at The Player's Take. If you'd like to ask us questions, please do so at theplayerstake01@gmail.com, and we will read your questions. Man, if you tell us that Anthem's the best game on the planet and that we're a couple of fucking retard, moronic idiots, I'll read that question.
Let us hear it.
Yeah, let us know. Dude, let us know. I know there's a couple of you out there that have been listening to this podcast every week because every time I post this shit, the next morning, there's 2 listens. And I know you're out there. I think one of them is Montrell's girlfriend. But the other one, whoever you are,
Hey, man.
just say something. And just, you know, it's like, okay. Anyways. So that's it for this week. I think we're going to be talking about Square Enix in next week's episode. There's a lot to talk about there.
And you know what? We're going to break that down to positives and negatives, guys. But we always do that.
It's going to skew negative for sure. I'm going to be honest with you. It's going to skew negative for sure. But there's some positive. Like, we're going to talk about some positive things, though.
Yeah.
Like some things from like 20 years ago. Maybe. Fair enough. All right. That's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. And we'll see you on the next one. All right. Bye, guys.